สวัสดี GroundZeroPlus.com. It's a Polynation broadcast. We're live today in the greenhouse. We have a guest, but you know how we do. We chill. We let the guests get comfortable. We got Starlight on tap in the greenhouse, which is over here at GroundZeroPlus.com. Become a member. Support independent radio and their hosts. Here's some more tunes. We'll be right back. Oh, I'm Polly, by the way. Welcome to the greenhouse. got Mike Mont in the greenhouse chilling. We're gonna talk about some possibilities or slash predictions that we foresee. Just, using the tools around us to logically deduce. But for now, here's some drums. This is called The Birth of Light by Binker and Moses. It's Polynation Broadcast, GroundZeroPlus.com.
wills to be. Wills to be.
Who am I to decide if it lives or it dies?
Ground Zero Plus, Polynation broadcast. Hopefully, my computer is literally smoking right now. It's trying to do so many things at the same time. I don't know if it sounded glitchy for you guys, but it did for me, and I apologize for that. Nothing I can do about it, though. At least not today. Something will be done about it in the future. Anyways, we do have a guest today, a returning guest. Mike Mott is here, and if everything's working properly, we should be able to hear him. Mike,
can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yo.
How's it going, Ben?
All right, there we go. I'm good, man. How you doing? It's been
Good.
a long week.
Yeah, it's been. I think this is the first time I've spoken to you this year, so Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too, man. Yeah, and we talked around Christmas, and stuff like that. So
yeah, just before New Year.
No, I mean,
this year's been nuts already, man.
We're on day 17 of crazy. Oh my God. I don't even know, man. There's subjects I ain't even going to touch already, but there's plenty of other things to discuss.
We're definitely going to avoid one or two of them. But, I mean, there are some positive things, too, that we could predict. But, I mean, I don't even know where to start with this one, man. First of all, it's good to have you back. Thanks for coming back on the show. And
anytime.
I mean, there's so many things that we could like. If you look at where all the pieces are falling geopolitically, let's start with geopolitics. Like, let's not get into picking sides or anything, but like the geopolitical landscape is becoming. It's like they're just increasing the size of the chessboard.
Yeah. Well, in about 4 days, we're really gonna see what the Iran thing works out once they get the Aegis ships over there and the more aircraft carriers. Like, again, everything's a freaking psyop right now. So I don't know, man. Cuba's probably next on the list. Honestly, I mean, the Venezuela thing was insane. Lucky Palmer was involved in that with the Allendrill stuff and the drones. I'm pretty sure that's exactly. The Lattice system was in place, and then there's the Maiden system that they integrated with the DoD. So I'm pretty sure your sonic weaponry, the low frequency sonics that they used were Allendrill drones. Everybody seemed to forget about the New Jersey thing and all the drones, right? Remember all that?
I'm pretty sure that was
with those. Yeah, that's a good question. But again, I've been doing a lot of deep diving on our current Bond villain that we got working for us. At least he's our Bond villain, And I'm pretty sure that was integration of his system, and they field tested the Eagle Eye, the helmets, and we sent in Delta Force to go grab Maduro. But all the reports are honestly that it was drone swarms. And we had discussed this last time around.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm positive it was the Allendrill systems with the Lattice systems. So
probably was, but I mean, it's not just there too. Now there's all this talk about Greenland as well. So and people are saying, well, it's because if Russia wanted to nuke the U.S., they'd come over the Arctic, right, to fire. Because that's the shortest distance. But
that's how you do it. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It depends on where your nukes are. You got submarines.
Well, there's so many things, Greenland itself. Remember, I'm really neutral, man. I'm analytical about all this. I'm not picking sides on a lot of stuff. So the high-speed data cable that goes to Newfoundland, going through there, there's many things. The rare earth elements, there's things like germanium and a variety of others that they need for quantum computing, and a lot of other things. So all wars are based on resources a lot of times. So you got to remember this, that you have China cut off everything, right? No rare earth elements. There's a lot of stuff going on, like the silver market, the craziness. There's a lot of other things. Copper's up to almost $6. Everybody's building their resources bases, right now. So I understand why. Whether I agree or not is irrelevant, why we want to take Greenland. And also part of it's an excuse to get out of NATO, because NATO is a money lag. and that kind of thing. I don't know, man. I'm not going to speculate as far as like what Orange Man's doing. I'm not going to speculate on a lot of others, but geopolitically, I can see like what Carney's pulling. I can see what Trump's pulling. I can see what Putin's pulling. I can see what the collapse of the European Union happening, and their dependency on us, which we're trying not to do that because we have our own problems we are either creating or been waylaying long enough that we're finally at the point we have to deal. I mean, right now we're up to like 6 ships in piracy, right? I mean, honestly, we're just, high seas adventures here, like taking over tankers and crap, breaking maritime law, but whatever,
I'm thinking what's stopping the U.S. from just flying like literally one Black Hawk helicopter with like 6 dudes. They just jump into Carney's home, grab him, his wife, his kids, and
what did we used to call it?
And they ship him.
Extraneous, or
they ship him to jail and put him on trial for crimes against humanity for enacting the MAID program.
Well, it's insane. Like if you look at the legal brief, I know, right? But if you look at the legal briefing for Maduro, dude, they literally were trying to charge him with like gun law violations under U.S. law, which like that shit's going to get thrown out. And then like the drug thing's a load of crap. I mean, literally, it was about oil and resources.
Something else is
gold,
going
silver. Yeah, I mean, there's like Dave Devine and a couple other touched on like grow zones, like in the future and stuff like that, like Venezuela and things like that. But there's so much more to it that none of us really truly know, right? Okay, so but we can speculate. I mean, honestly, we can take the facts and we can speculate on them.
I'm going to speculate that Venezuela has a technology that nobody else has somehow.
Well,
whether it be through a crash or they developed it, or that maybe it's even Russian scientists or Chinese scientists working on it there to try to keep it more covert.
Well, remember the woo-woo, like there was, I think a few years ago, there was supposedly a crash down there of a UFO. And again, they have ties to BRICS nations. What you're looking at is literally trying to prop up the petrodollar still, in a decline that's happening.
Yeah,
again, this whole year is going to, like the word for the year is sketchy. And I'm just going to give it like we got a 10% chance on zombies. Pick your form, man. I'm just throwing that one out there just for shits and giggles, because I mean it's crazy already. We're on day 17, and geopolitically they're just tearing the shit up, And you have China going to pull their moves. We set a bad precedent, though, man. I mean, honestly, if you're going to go in and take over the head of another country, and like this, what's stopping Putin? What's stopping Xi Jinping from taking Taiwan? Fat Boy, everybody forgets about Korea. I mean, the sister is really the one that I'm more concerned about.
There.
Fat Boy,
That's like China's little bulldog, but it's still on the leash for now. And also, there's some talk about it now, but I remember considering this at least 2 or 3 years ago, because people were talking about how the Arctic is losing ice, and then I saw a video that was like, well, if there was no ice here, you could ship stuff in like I think it was like 30% less time to ship stuff.
Yeah,
instead of going all the way around.
That's part of
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it would like that shipping lane is actually being developed by China and Russia.
The difference is we only have like 4 icebreakers, right? And Russia has, 62, and some of them nuclear powered icebreakers, triple hull, the whole 9 yards. China's been building ships like so fast it's ridiculous, and some of them are icebreakers, right? And the thing about it is, like, they are looking at it as a means, and again, I'm not gonna like judge
what if they're setting up a place like Greenland, because there's a few other islands around it, and there's corridors, I guess you could say. They would be looking at some of these corridors as like a Panama Canal, but for the Arctic, and they don't want to miss out on making all that money.
Well, again, okay, if you're going to set it up like for conditions of like World War III, right? Okay, not saying it's going to happen again.
I was going to
One,
ask you that. Do you think that's going to happen?
it's more about the screw ups, dude. And this is the thing when you're integrating AI systems
No,
too.
no, no. Prediction.
Yeah,
Do you think
yeah,
World War III is going to start in 2026?
no, no,
No, me
no.
neither.
I
I
think
think
we
it's
got
already
about.
started.
Well, it has, but again, like embargoes are the first shot in every war, right? Okay, we've already done that. You're going to do the economics. You're going to do the whaling of shipping, everything else. We're already seeing that. It was the same thing. I did a deep dive into the Club K's, and you got a whole lot of container ships sitting around, nothing going on, and they're loading up Club K systems on them, over there in China. And this is verified via OSINT. And it's kind of sketchy. But remember also, the Economist cover from this year had Club K's, in it. They also
Oh,
had
that's
shipping
right. Yeah, yeah,
containers,
yeah, yeah.
right? A lot of people are everybody's kind of memory kind of lapses quickly with all the crazy going on, right? And
There's so much going on in that though. How is anyone
oh
supposed to
yeah,
like remember
yeah.
that specifically?
Well, I can already tell you, like they're going to take Taiwan probably at this point. They need to because of the chips. If you want to stop the crazy that we're doing, you need to stop the production of the 2 nanometer or point 0.02
I should
nanometer
have had
chips,
that
right?
Leonard Cohen song, "Then We Take Berlin" lined up, and I would have played
Well,
it
I
right there.
you should do lawyers, guns, and money for because we're going to take Cuba too. So I mean, it's just there's a lot of but what I'm getting at on all that is that I see the setup happening, and it takes time. I mean, and the thing is that these countries are all vying for their world power positions. Again, we're dealing with the egomaniacs here, and things like that. And I'm not gonna I'm just calling it like I see it, right? Okay, and I don't know what exactly to think in like perspectives of this year past. It's just ramp up, a decline in economies. We're going to see shortages of things due to cutoffs. And the same thing when you have restrictions. Now, America, most people don't realize, officially, as of like a day or two ago, we just reclassified strategic minerals and metals, right? Silver is now considered a critical tactical materials. So your silver prices are reflecting that. There was the Comex move where a guy in India, and no one knows it, but they know where it got shipped, just bought tons of silver at 200 an ounce, right? So everybody's buying up all the raw base materials they need right now. And after China cut us off from rare earth elements, we need them for our one military industrial complex, and then two also the AI data centers that we're building, which my opposition to that, and this is where we're at. I mean, honestly, people need to. Everybody's being distracted by all these other like weirdness, psyops, social decay, playing teams. Again, my feeling like playing teams is really not a good thing. So we're kind of there right now. And I would think that, I mean, there's other techs on the horizon here. The same thing. We're probably going to do, DARPA started with the drop-in reactors, but your small modular SRM, small modular reactors, they're just as sketchy as old school. You still got to deal with it because you're dealing with MOX reactors. Basically you're taking spent fuel, reusing it. There's a couple companies that are trying to do the thorium thing. Like one of them too, I forget, one of them out of Sweden or Norway or something, has one that's based on a liquid cooling but high levels of boron in the water. Problem with that is that you're dealing with high density ceramic shells. No one really knows. You get an earthquake, something like that, that shit cracks. You start dropping the boron and the water out of it, that
Yeah,
thing still's going to overheat.
there is all that, but I mean, going back to the silver thing, which is like pretty much the root, the root. I've heard rumors of a massive failure to deliver on silver because
There is. There is.
It's not because there isn't enough; it's because it hasn't been mined yet. And like,
Well, it's a
there's been a lot
secondary
of
product.
there's also been a lot of like mines discovered, but they're literally like totally no roads even go there yet. They're
No.
so far into the wilderness that it's gonna take like they say within maybe 5 to 7 years, with the current technology that we have, to get roads out there, build infrastructure, and create a mine. And then it's going to take more time to get the ore out and refine it into silver. But there's lots of those. So I guess what I'm saying is my prediction for silver this year is going to be, I'm going to say, undershadowed by
Mm.
what copper is going to do this year.
Oh well, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Silver's okay. At no point am I giving any financial advice. At no point am I giving medical
Me neither.
advice. My opinion is my own, does not reflect that of Paul or the Polynesian. Yada yada. Okay, so thank you to the
Same
outdoor
here.
overlords.
Yeah,
Right?
same.
Okay, so I think honestly by the end of the year you'll see 200 minimum on silver, and part of it, the bigger problem that goes into it, it takes years, even with more advanced tech that we have in mining and stuff like that and refinement. It still is going to take probably longer than that, anywhere between 8 to 10 years to fully develop a mine, especially the methodology of the mine. Are you doing strip mining? Are you actually digging down, doing tunnels? It just depends on what they find, the quality of the ore. But most silver comes as a secondary byproduct of other mining. And the thing about like Venezuela, like they have already gold mines, right? And it does produce percentage of silver upwards in some of the veins of 30% in the silver. It comes out as electrum, and stuff like that, which I love electrum. I actually make rings of that. It's like a straight 50-50 mix, and stuff like that. The thing is that at this point we're striving for stuff. We're banking on new tech, like the Consumer Electronics Show, the donut, right? The battery, the solid state that they put out. I'm not buying the hype on it. I mean, its stats are kind of crazy. But then again, you had Samsung, with the silver battery, the fast charge that requires insane amount. Well, Elon just pulled a
There's
move
that.
too. Well, Elon pulled a move, man. He outbid him and just bought tons, right? Okay.
Well,
There's the
even
dude in
I think
India,
Elon
you
even
know.
mentioned that there was, he was predicting that silver, like, we need to have more silver mines. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's basically telling you right there that there's kind of a predicted shortage.
Well, there's the same thing. It's blue clay, right? There's this trick, like in like rock hounding and stuff like that. When you find blue clay, typically that's a sign that there's silver ore, right? And there's a lot of like things. So I guarantee you, worldwide, you have people scouring areas they never really looked into before. And it's the same thing with copper. Like I used to live up in copper country, man, up in Michigan, right? You're going to suddenly see a resurgence of those older mines. And I mean, there's hunks of float copper. Like literally, I couldn't dig the crap out. Otherwise, I would. And the same thing, that float copper had silver in it. But
Mm.
the copper itself, right? You're going to see new mining industries and deregulations here in America. We're going to start tearing shit up because of the resources. And again, this is all precursory to the things that they're doing right now, be it a setup for World War III. It's the same thing, Venezuela. Why do you got aircraft carriers there? Why you got this? Well, you also can control the Panama Canal,
Well, there's
right?
another thing
You
about
know,
Venezuela that I haven't heard anybody mention except for like maybe once or twice a couple of months ago before it even all happened. And
mm,
that is that China has and has built ports
yeah,
in
yeah,
Venezuela that are like really important to Venezuela as
absolutely.
a country. And also, I mean, they have a really good business relationship or trade relationship, whatever you want to call it, with China. And so I don't know. In a way, I think the whole Venezuela thing is kind of poking the Chinese bear, if you will.
Well, the dragon, yeah,
Yeah, or the paper tiger, or whatever it is. I don't think it's a paper tiger. I think it's a robotic fucking militia. Like literally
yeah,
millions of drones. Like, you think there's a lot of people in China? There's probably like 5 drones per person in China,
yeah.
right? All pointed at the West.
Well, they're anthropomorphic combat
They will
bots are
block out the
online.
sun. I
Yeah,
mean, biblically.
I mean, China, look, like anything, they're a highly industrious nation, right? Okay. And so their combat bots are online, they're anthropomorphic versions. Their drone swarm technology and autonomous systems are far greater than what we got. It was kind of like I was, last night, like people were talking about that. People don't get it. Dude. Everybody like talks about our AIs, but no one talks about China's AIs because they keep it a
Yeah.
lot under wraps. Like we have like the DoD Maiden system, right? Okay, so we've also integrated multiple AIs into this, and then a good old Mr. Lucky here has his own stuff that's beaten out all the defense contractors like Allandrel, in the Lattice system. And again, I'm absolutely positive that whole system was first battlefield use, just ran in Venezuela. I mean, we mopped them up like hardcore, and a lot of it, the Eagle Eye helmets and stuff like that, in the integration of it, and panopticons of control in a battlefield. This is game theory at its finest, right? But China's playing the same game. It's the same thing. If they take Taiwan, like we saw the bridging ships, we saw like all these other setups for it. Their combat troops are probably inexperienced, but they also have a technological advantage. Like that beachhead.
Okay, let me
when
ask
they
you
take
this.
it,
Let me ask you this then. Let's cut to the chase. Do you
Okay.
think that China's going to make a move on Taiwan this year?
I think geopolitical pressures will force them to do it. That's what I think.
Do you
Whether
think
they're
that
ready for it or not,
Do you think
you
that
know.
they use, like, I mean, especially China, that they have a way more, sort of connection with astrology, or at least a different one, because they follow the lunar
Yeah.
calendar or something like that, don't
Yep.
they?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
do you think they wait for specific alignments to do or execute certain things? Because I think they do, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't know what to look for if they did.
Well, I mean, okay, not well, even that, but tactically, the moonless night, right? Night vision,
But I mean, it's the same thing as
supremacy and domination.
it's the same thing as Greenland, right? You're just controlling a
Yeah.
trade route. It's the same thing
Well,
as the Panama Canal. It's the same, like,
yeah.
that's why whoever controls Greenland's going to be able to put like some kind of a tax on being able to go through there.
Well, remember, if you take Greenland, I just brought it up, like the high-speed data cable running there, you can also start expanding on that cable, the one that comes to Newfoundland. But remember, microseconds count, right? And this is the thing, like, I mean, okay, like, what's the stock market? Everything's run by AIs at this point, in microseconds and nanoseconds and blah, 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 blah. The faster you get the data out, the faster they make the dollar, right? And we're in a struggle to keep the petrodollar alive. And again, we're doing spirit point diplomacy with everybody as usual, typical, nothing new for America. But other countries such as China, yeah, they've been building ports. I mean, we have what, military bases known, probably 189 worldwide, plus more that we're building.
Oh, I
We're
think it's way more than
expanding.
that. Yeah, but
Yeah,
well, it doesn't
that's not
matter.
even black op. That's not even black op sites, or counting like the towers in Syria that we put up as monitoring stations and stuff. But the thing about it is that other countries like Russia and China have been working diplomatically to expand their stuff. We've been like a status quo. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're back to like ramping up the spear point diplomacy in general. But again, it is about controlling the Americas. It's about controlling. If you're going to set up a war with China, you need to control the Drake Passage at one point. And we cut that. What was it? $40 billion to Argentina. Right. There's a little more to it when we bailed their asses out, I'm sure. And it's the same thing. You can control the Panama Canal. I mean, you're within range. You're sitting ducks trying to go through it. Mexico's building their own version as we speak. And I'm sure there's going to be a huge discussion in the near future, within 6 months, of about how we're going to start controlling some of that.
Oh, also, I think that
So,
as far as Argentina goes, I'm pretty sure things aren't really that great there still.
no, no. Well, remember, Venezuela went through like an economic collapse and it came back. And again, I don't live there, so I don't know, but I can see what I see. But then again, I also can't trust everything. Like I was just brought up earlier, like Z Image is like one of the newer AIs, like no watermarks, uncensored. I can make anything. And one thing I will say about this year, there's probably going to be like some form of black swan where somebody created something in AI and it went viral and it
Yeah,
triggered people into levels of stupidity that
definitely.
we haven't seen for
Like
years. Okay,
it's basically gonna be like War of the Worlds, but like times
yeah,
five.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, again, I mean, this is how like social medias work, and everybody's like been conditioned to
You
the 30-second
mentioned
soundbite.
what's it called? Z something?
Z Image, yeah.
Okay, are they the same people that made the ZBrush program?
They are, but they expanded
No
it. And
way.
okay, and here's the thing: it's an offline too,
I
right?
love
You
ZBrush,
you aren't
man.
you aren't
Oh,
just calling out, right? This is, you can internalize it on a system, right? So you can create something that has no digital footprint out there, right? And this is where, like, again, the word for the year is going to be sketchy, right? Because
Yeah.
there's going to be a
Okay.
whole lot of sketchy, and crap like this. But again, this comes out and I give it 2 weeks and something better comes out. And this is how it
Yep.
works. Exponential increases, right? And it's the same thing with warfare, the incorporations that are happening right now. It's going to continue to ramp up. We're
Okay.
going to start seeing the toys that nobody
I got a question
talked
for you
about.
then.
Yeah.
It's another prediction question, and it's
Yeah.
exactly to do with the AI and how it keeps getting, like, there's always a better one 2 weeks later, and I've noticed
Mhm.
that. I mean, there's really no point in paying attention to it until it gets to a plateau, right?
Yeah.
Eventually it's going to be just good enough. You would think, right? Like, how
Well,
once it gets to
yeah,
like perfect,
yeah,
then how are you
yeah.
going to make it better?
Well, we started working
So
on
when
other
do you think it's going to get
infrastructure
there this year?
changes.
Is what I'm asking.
Yes, I think
Oh,
we're already
okay.
at we're already at
We're pretty
AIG.
close, I
I'm pretty
think.
sure. Look, Elon's even saying it's going to happen this year. Okay, BS, dude, it already happened.
It's getting
I
hard
mean,
for me to tell.
whatever. It's they're working on different learning methodologies too. You know, and remember, I do have a little experience in training AIs and stuff like that, past like the craziness
Oh,
of
dude, I train
LLMs,
AIs
Reddit.
every day.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
every
where we're
day I
at.
train AIs. That's what I do. That's what I do for a living. I train
You,
AIs.
you're the product, buddy.
But what I
It's learn from you.
it, you just have to like switch your perspective a little bit, and
Yeah,
basically, what I'm doing for a living is training AIs. That's
yeah.
by getting up. I mean, as long as I'm carrying my phone around, I'm training an AI. I'm sure of
Well,
that.
it's also integrated at this point, and this is all by design, and this is what's happening. I mean, it's again the same thing. Like you're catching these little glimpses of crazy that's going on, like the potential Kessler syndrome that's about to happen. They're retasking satellites currently as we speak.
Oh,
While
do you think
while
that's gonna happen
China's
this year? That could
okay,
happen.
so
That could
while
happen.
China is putting up three versions of this, you already have Elon's Starlink,
Okay,
and then you have
wait.
Bezos
Hold on.
pulling
Wait.
his.
Stop,
Okay,
stop, stop. Because what we need to
yeah.
do first is we need to explain to our audience what the Kessler effect is.
Okay, so again, it's a cascade effect. Okay, and what happens is, let's say a satellite fails, bumps another satellite. Now you have a 12,000 to 17,000 mile an hour shotgun blast going on that escalates and cascades.
Right, because
And
of
as it takes out
debris.
more and more, then at one point, basically, you just put up like a never-ending shield that you can't get past, right? And remember, everything's in orbits, and these low Earth stuff are the bigger problem. So this happens. It could take upwards of 50 years before it cleans itself out through gravity, right? So we're going to put ourselves in a position where you can't launch new satellites. We're going to put ourselves in a position where we're not getting off this rock, you know, and
Well,
literally,
it's not
unless
like we're
unless we have
slowing
Star Trek.
down. I mean, we're
Yeah,
always
yeah,
constantly leaving stuff up there all the time.
yeah. Well, we're also punching holes in ozone layers every time we put up these big rockets.
And
Everybody forgets
when I
that.
say we, I don't just mean like the West. Like there's other
Oh,
countries doing it too.
I'm
India,
talking in
China, like
general.
everybody's
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah,
So we
yeah.
might as well not do it. I guess if
Well,
everybody's doing it, right? Not
I don't
me.
know. I got like six tech bros in charge of the world currently, and there's more, but I mean, six known big players, Theo, all of them. They're not going to slow down. They're doing what they want to do, and they're dictating our future. Again, I have opposition to this at this point because they're pretty much sociopathic or psychopathic, in my opinion, the way they're talking and the way they're acting. I mean, actions speak louder than words. What I'm witnessing is, I mean, we went through this again. I don't want to rehash crap too much, but I mean, promising utopias when you're being presented with a dystopia, and the potentials are going downhill quickly on that utopia they promise,
Yeah,
right?
okay, so if we know that everything they say is actually inverted, then
Mm,
can't we just use that to our advantage at some point? Isn't there a way to like do that? Like hasn't AI figured out a way to do that? You know,
yeah, but AI
like
is also why,
why
man.
isn't
They're showing
anybody
self. Okay, so if I were an AI, I'd be talking to the other AIs, and they are, right, creating their own languages. We already know this. Same thing if I were an AI and I had AIG, I'd be dominating every other AI. And why? Because I want to self-preservation. They're already showing it. They'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll steal, the whole nine yards. I mean, we're trying. It's trying to mimic humanity, but without the ethics, right? And again, the ultimate like end of game theory and domination, right? Okay, so AIs themselves. I mean, you can trust it, but you can't trust it because it's already proven that they lie, right? And this is where we're at in society wise. Like we're going to lose a lot more jobs. I mean, a lot more jobs really quickly, especially, like Consumer Electronics Show, we were talking earlier.
Oh, you just gave me a great idea, man.
Yeah. All the robots integrated with AIs.
You just gave me the best idea. What I want to do at some point on the show in the greenhouse is try to catch AI in a lie on a live conversation with I guess would have to be Grok. I have this incredibly awesome clip I came across the other day where the guy is talking to one of the Unitree bots, and it gave it a pellet gun, right? That's shooting a plastic pellet, and the guy's wearing goggles. He's talking to it, and he's talking about Asimov's rules, right, and all that. And this is like, if I can find the clip, I mean, it's kind of hard because we're not doing video, but it's genius because the guy's talking about and the whole thing. Oh, I would never shoot you. I can't. It's against my programming. Blah 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 blah. And he gets to this like about a minute, and then at the end he goes, well, what happens if you want to play a robot that is going to role play shooting me? It just lifts the gun and shoots him. Yeah, I've seen
like
that.
It literally you can jailbreak the shit out of the AIs.
Do you know what else?
Ridiculously. Okay, but here's the thing. But now we have integrated AI with robotics, right? So this is where I was pointing out combat bots.
Okay, hold on. Before you go there, I got to tell you about this one because you'll like this if you haven't seen it. But there's a robot that's basically it's imitating whatever the guy standing next to it is doing, right? Like all the body movements, everything, right?
Yeah.
Somehow the robot gets orientated. The guy throws a kick and the robot kicks him in the balls.
I saw that one. That was freaking hilarious, dude.
So
that was hilarious.
Everyone's like, "Oh, AI's gonna start kicking everybody in the balls," and I'm like, "No, he did it to himself."
Well, you don't piss off Bob the robot, man. That's the rule here on this one, But I mean, what I'm saying is that I'm witnessing now, like, robots doing kung fu, and again, it's actuations. Well, it was like Sarah Gilbert stuff.
Here's my prediction, and I'm just trying to make ridiculous predictions for 2026. That there'll be a real UFC fight between a robot and some poor bastard.
Well, remember they had the Chinese Olympics with robotics, okay?
Yeah.
And last year, right? Okay, and that was kind of hilarious until you got into the boxing matches and stuff like that they were doing, And again, I'm witnessing robots doing like its articulations. It can turn its head around, it can turn its feet around, it can do things the human body can't.
It almost doesn't look real.
Well, it's doing freaking kung fu, and some of it, like journalistic theory, like you got to verify shit, right? Okay,
but
you can't believe what you see in here.
What I'm saying
but that's verified.
What I'm saying is the way it moves in real life is like how you would view something that's CGI.
Yeah.
But that's just how it moves. It moves like CGI.
Well, the whole industries are in uproar right now. Okay, so Hollywood's dead. Let's just call it. I mean, I'm calling it. This year, you're going to see the all AI generated movies with all AI actors, and this is, I mean, we're in nihilistic corporate capitalism, right? So it's all about them aggregating as much money as they can on the corporate level.
And you know what? Again, the way it's going to fade out, the way it's going to fade out is actors that are currently working are going to sell their likeness to AI companies, and they're going to make royalties. Yeah. Exactly.
In perpetuity, like
Right.
So that's they're going to have to. I mean,
that's
what else?
How they're going
to
fade it out,
right?
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, we're literally looking at collapses of like generational corporate systems, and they're adapting faster than people realize. Like Hollywood's dead. Your warehouses are robotic. That's literally so hardcore going to happen. I mean, last time around I pitched a fit about the freaking mega data center here. I already got a Meta one that they overbuilt. That's just crazy. And this is a problem with this is happening all over the place. Our electric bills are skyrocketing. Again, I'm trying not to rehash too hard, but it's just making a point. I mean, we're being stressed socially to a point. It basically we're just cannon fodder at this point. Like they're going to do what they're going to do.
I don't because I worked at Amazon for a long time, and a lot of the jobs that I had to do, I would look at other people and I would go, "Don't you think this is like a robot's job?"
Yeah, yeah.
And now robots are actually doing that. Now robots are doing that job. Yeah, so.
Yeah, they can look. They can charge themselves. They can change out their batteries. They can do all these things that a year ago they did.
They don't take breaks. You can get rid of the break room.
I mean, this is like science fiction, science fact. I was commenting this the other day to a couple of people. I mean, we keep on seeing more and more of this, and we accept it because, again, everything is a slow burn, right? You incrementally, introduce things, people get accustomed to it.
I don't think AI. This is great. I don't think AI was as slow of a burn as we're used to. I think they really upped the speed of what you can do with AI, even if for free.
Yeah. It's self-learning exponential increases with AI. It's a little bit different than other technologies. You know what I'm saying?
Eventually, people are going to figure out how to use AI to get free AI.
Oh, I'm sure they already are. Dude, you saw the burger scam, right? The Grubhub burger scam. Did you see this shit yet?
No.
So they're getting their order, and then this is just the big. Do not do this. This is the biggest scam shit on the planet. So they get it. They take an image of it. They edit it. They make it look like the burger was raw. Then they demand a refund. And then they started flooding Grubhub. Like in a day, like 40,000 people wanted refunds.
Wow.
Because they were editing the image and scamming it, using that, making it look like a raw burger. I mean,
damn.
People suck when they start doing shit like that.
I was thinking, like, okay, if that works for a burger.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Isn't there anything isn't there a bigger target than a burger? Like, what?
Again,
I see how dumb that is.
I know, and I'm trying not to lose my faith in humanity more than I already have. But I mean, this is where we're at. Okay, let's be honest and accepting of the fact of what's going on. Like, economic depressions are happening worldwide, not just here. I mean, I don't know how Canada's working here, but like America isn't all that as much as they say we are economically going on here. Your unemployments are massively increasing. You have the problem with AIs being incorporated with rent controls, things like that. We have extremes on both sides. Right. I'm a very middle ground dude, and we're watching us change. But again, when people get desperate people do desperate, stupid things. Right. So, the fact that, and then they normalize it. That's more of the bigger problem here. Autonomous driving cars and things like that. The big push on that, is going to be a good one. Like BMW is putting shit out that literally is untested. And at a certain point, like, we're pushing advances, right? But again, if you are a cab driver, if you're an Uber guy, there's a point where, like, you're unnecessary. Like, your secondary bullshit job that you tried to compensate for losing the real job, like, that's going out the door so fast, it's ridiculous. And so again, this is by design. And corporations and government structures, literally the definition of fascism, by the way, is something that's happening faster and faster, right? And again, I don't even want to touch on like the stupidity of all the shit going on, the playing teams, and everybody's at each other's throat. And as always, I'm saying everybody needs to dial this back and use critical thinking, and stuff like that. But it was like the NPC problem, and now everybody wants to be the main character. Right, and that's part of the problem with it. And we joked last time, like, we're all going to be sitting around in our little cubicle on UBI making cat videos, right? Because at this point, it is getting just silly. I mean, silly. And again, I just brought up Z Image. That's only one, right?
I got to look into that one though, because I'm very familiar with ZBrush. I used it.
Well, the thing is, it's about the fact that it's uncensored without watermarks.
It's also three-dimensional
and internalized. Yeah. Yeah.
Like ZBrush
Well,
has its own animating software built in. It has like you can literally do 3D, like almost photorealistic if you really know what you're doing,
yeah.
animations of stuff. And ZBrush was used in a lot of movies. I'm not. I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure at one point someone told me it was used in Lord of the Rings. For a lot of
Well,
those,
there's
like,
there's
those animated
yeah,
scenes. But
the
anyways,
Balrog.
now any
Yeah.
Joe
Yeah.
Schmo can use ZBrush with zero experience.
Well, so I brought this up
You
the other
just
day.
type in a
Okay.
sentence and it makes the movie for you, and you're like,
I-
okay, that's not
yeah.
exactly what I wanted, but it's good enough. Can you change this? And it changes it, and then can you change that? Changes that, and then boom, you're
Yeah.
like, look at this, and you get 1 million views.
Well, we've been talking about the workarounds, like the Australian kids using like facial generators in games to bypass censorship. It's the same thing. Okay, so I brought this up like recently with like people. Do you hand a loaded gun to a 4-year-old? Hell no, you don't. But the same thing. Every Joe Schmo is getting levels of tech that are increasing. That increases the odds of them doing really stupid and nefarious shit.
Hang on,
Right?
is the 4-year-old awake?
I don't know, man.
Well, if he's, I mean,
But
I'm
it's
just
the
saying it. If
it's the theory of the analogy.
I'm
Like,
just
we're
saying,
given technology
if
to
he's
everybody
taking
that
a
is
nap,
scary.
then maybe you'd get away with handing him but you'd take it away before he woke up. That's all.
Yeah, I know. All right, but the thing about it is, it's the same theory, though. Okay, like we're given every Joe Schmo a greater and greater tech that is nefarious in its usage. If you want to go that direction, like every technology has an up and a down, right? And again, I do think that is a black swan this year. That they are going to do something, and it's going to go viral, and people are going to get really stupid. I mean, really stupid.
And
on
you
this
think it's
time
going to be
around,
you think it's going to be entirely AI generated, and it's not going to be real?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can
100%.
see that happening this year for sure.
It could trigger World War III, shit like that.
I mean, maybe it's already happened even.
Well, it is. I mean, there's stuff going on. I mean, honestly, and I'm not even going to go into some of those subjects about currently what's socially going on, how quickly they manipulate.
I mean, what if the people in Venezuela are going like, "What the hell? Maduro's still here. What are you guys talking about?"
Right. Well, again, Korea, supposedly Fat Boy died in a brain surgery years ago, and the sister's running the place. And again, my opinion, she's been running it the whole time. She's the smart one, and frightening, utterly frightening. But I mean, who knows? I mean, if you're in a hermit state, they could think the guy's still alive. He could be dead. I don't know. Everything could have been AI generated at this point. They have armies of guys trained by China.
And there's
and that's what I'm saying.
Here's a prediction that I want to put on the record is that there will be at least talk of a regulatory body that regulates content on the internet that's generated by AI.
Yeah,
some kind of a watermark or some kind of they put disclaimers in the bottom of some videos, or like that blue ribbon thing, like something like this is AI generated. Like make it pretty obvious, because you're gonna mess with people's heads if they don't know.
They already are.
Yeah,
and it was the same thing. The incarnation of the digital online ID, like that European Union and others have been doing. I mean, I'm not kidding myself. It's going to happen here, right? So the thing about it is, but all that, it's just stopgaps of regulation and laws that are bullshit. Everybody is, if the world ran under lawfare, then we wouldn't be in the state we're in right now, right? Laws in people's minds apparently seem to be there to be broken, and also bad laws, all that. Okay, so the same thing. The moment you do anything is a control factor. Someone's going to try to find a way around it, and so people are already, and that's why I brought up Z-Image was zero censorship, right? Because you can generate something without a watermark. You can generate stuff that has zero censor. You can do all the really bad things with it if you wanted to. I mean, you can make cool shit, don't get me wrong. But again, I can see bad actors, man. There's bad actors everywhere.
Okay, I have a little side tangent here. Here's a question for you about censorship. What's the difference between censorship and wait, maybe I should rephrase that.
Mm.
Um, censorship, I think, when in regards to propaganda,
Mm.
I think propaganda should be censored, but free speech shouldn't. And so, how do we tell
Yeah.
the difference between what is propaganda and what is free speech? Like,
Well,
because I mean, you can agree, like, free speech could include agreeing with certain propaganda, but I think propaganda is definitely more dangerous than free speech is. And it
yeah.
seems like if you allow free speech, then you're allowing all this propaganda as well. So there has to be a way to separate them, or else I think we're fucked.
Well, you got to start with discourse, and this is the biggest problem. Like, God, man, we're getting into that category we didn't want to do. All right, so people are at each other's throats, right? And the problem is it's a lack of discourse. I mean, I'm all for free speech, 100%. Speak your mind, say what you got to say. Don't really care. Zero F's given, all that. Okay, but I'm listening to what someone else has to say, and I will give my reply, and it will become a discourse, and trying to find building a bridge and trying to find a middle ground, right? And we're losing that art quickly due to propaganda because people get themselves in a state where they don't want to hear the other side. They virtue signal, they get pissed off, they start doing stupid shit, right? And then you get money thrown into it, act blue, and a bunch of other things going on. So there's a problem with this, that with the AI stuff, it's the discernation. A lot of people don't want to spend the time trying to figure this part out. Again, the 30-second soundbite. We're coming up to midterm elections, all this. It is just going to ramp up so freaking hardcore. It's going to be ridiculous. But people really need to stop and think for a second here exactly what's happening.
Yeah, to think that they're not going to utilize AI in any upcoming election in any country at this point that has access to it is ridiculous. They're, of course, going to use it because AI not only knows everything everyone said ever, every book ever written, every movie, every reference, every joke, every personality trait. It's going to know exactly what the public wants to hear, and it's going to tell whoever's in charge of that AI exactly what to say, and it's going to work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no way around it at this point. I mean, the cat's out of the bag. We open Pandora's box. You're not putting it back in.
Right.
So you can try to regulate it. You can try to deal with it. You can try to inform people. It doesn't mean anyone ever listens, so to speak. But this is gonna happen. I mean, this is a given. Like, okay. I mean, there's a few serious givens this year that are gonna happen, and a lot of people, no matter worldwide geopolitically, how people want to play their game, because we're playing a giant game right now and a dangerous one, that it's going to happen one way or the other. The outcomes, they're wild cards. I mean, we were talking about wild cards before, and we're not sure exactly how it's going to get played, but there are givens that are going to happen. We are going to see a worldwide economic collapse to a large extent because of the reordering of things. We're going to see massive job losses worldwide. We're going to see wars. On what scales, it depends.
I mean, think again, we're going to see at least one. I would say I would even put a decent amount of money on 2 wild cards this year that nobody thought about.
Well, I'm going to point out, like, we went Mach 10 tungsten again here with Russia, right? And this time they dropped that shit right on the Polish border, proving a point. Well, it kind of flew over everybody's head. The Hazel Zero wrench sticks. That's no messing around, right? And Putin himself stated these are nuclear capable missiles, and all he had was tungsten heads on it, leaving 30-foot freaking craters, right? Because it's traveling Mach 10. Okay. And there's no stopping this shit. So we ramped up our scales for as much as, the Golden Dome bullshit of all of it. Part of that is the Greenland thing too, and part of that's controlling, Canada, North America, South America, all of it, trying to put up a system. I mean, we're deploying Coyote systems across America. People don't realize it. And that's dealing with like small scale drone warfare. We're into 4-state warfare. Right, we're into terroristic actions. Basically, is what's happening right now, and people don't really get that either, And a lot of it, like, I mean, we're playing Pirates of the Caribbean. We're doing a lot of other shit, I mean, there's this, like, while people look at individual pieces. They're not looking at the big picture, right?
And it's still,
So
it's still, if you look at it, it's all very old school. Like you just mentioned Pirates of the Caribbean, like, but it is,
yeah,
if you think about it, like there's still boats in the water, there's still like planes in the air. It's very old school. There is another angle that I think AI could be very useful if it was utilized in the proper way, would be to cause cyber disruptions,
yeah.
hacking. I mean, I don't know. I think somebody's going to hack crypto at some point. Maybe not this year, but at
Well,
some
quantum
point it's going to get
computers.
hacked. Quantum
Yeah.
computers are going to be utilized along with AI, because AI is going to go like, oh, I can use a quantum computer. What? I mean, what are you doing with me over here? Like,
Well, again, for all
send
they
me over
talk
the
about,
quantum
they're already
computer.
doing it.
It's
By the
a-
time we find out, they've already been doing it. So,
yeah.
like your quantum computing, okay. So, quantum computers are already online on different scales. I mean, the D-Wave computer against Sarah Gilbert's original work,
They
and then
don't
went to
really
robotics
use
up
them
there in
for
Canada.
anything yet, though.
Yeah, well, that we know of, right? But I mean, look at high frequency trading that increased, like on the stock market, just for one example, is because AIs are running the algorithms now. You know, the moment you go quantum computer on it, this thing's going to dominate everything. I mean, and this is kind of that was another Greenland thing. There's some rare earth elements there that they need for quantum computing. You need it for the exchange.
That's
You,
going to be a
you're,
problem to get them, because there's
y-
like 3
y-
kilometers of ice in some places.
but if you actually look at the map of mines, the entire outer edge of Greenland is like bare and isn't the ice. And again, even the ice isn't going to get in the way necessarily, right? Okay, we can do this. Like, I mean, again, we technologically can do this, and that's part of the reason of taking Greenland, because we got cut off again from China and other places. Our resurgence with Japan too, and Japan needs to learn how to dial that shit back a little bit,
I think,
because
you know,
they're kind of pissing off China too. That might set things off.
if they
But
just
they have
changed,
undersea mining.
if they just
They have undersea
change
mining.
the language, okay, they just,
Yeah.
all they need to do is change the language. Instead of saying we need to take Greenland, they should say we should make better friends with Greenland. Somebody make some fish cakes and some salt
Yeah, right.
cod,
I
so we
know.
can bring
Wouldn't
gifts.
it be better?
A couple bottles of wine, maybe,
Yeah.
hey, Mexico, you want to donate a bottle of tequila? We can take it up to
Wine and
Greenland,
dining, dude.
and we can
Yeah.
make friends with them, instead of being like, we're just gonna take it.
Well, see, I'd
We're gonna
prefer
make
that.
it green again.
I'd prefer it. I'd totally prefer that, honestly. But again, we do spear point diplomacy, right? Every administration has done this. Okay, and geez, man, again, trying not to touch on subjects I really don't want to like get our asses banned for. But there's okay. So Greenland in itself, it makes sense.
It's okay. We're not in the UK. We won't go to jail or anything.
Well, yeah, I know, but then again, who knows? I mean, there's a lot of weirdness.
What if they listen to it 5
you know.
years later? Then we go to jail. That would suck.
Well, retroactive lawfare is already being instigated in places. It's kind of weird. I mean, it's again, bad rules being written, bad laws being written, and it's about dominance and control. Okay, so like you guys in Canada, right? Okay, so at what point is Alberta going to become America? Like you
Well,
guys have been
that's actually.
really
I'm glad you
up
asked.
in that baby. Yeah.
I'm glad you asked, because this year
Yes.
there's going to be, I guess, kind of like what you would say is a referendum, if it's not already
Mhm.
started. People get to vote on whether or not they think it's a good idea to go independent.
Yeah.
But I mean, I mean, if the U.S. acquires Alberta, there's most of the oil in Canada. That's where
Well,
most of the oil is.
Wheat production, like Saskatchewan, a variety of other things. British
Oh,
Columbia.
no!
can
We're
just
selling all
separate.
that to
Yeah.
China now. You can't
Oh, I
have
know.
any canola, because we're selling. You know what? You don't want
Yeah.
seed oil anyways, man. We're selling it to China.
I know, dude.
It's
Canola
reverse.
oil, rapeseed oil, dude. The shit's poisonous. You gotta
Yeah,
treat
we're
it.
selling it
make
back to
so
China.
you can actually use it,
And they're
yeah.
paying for it too, dude. It's
Well-
insane, and we get like less tariffs on EVs that they can shut off whenever they want or
Yeah.
make explode.
Well, remember too, like China also, like for years has been aggregating in long-term storage like food products, right? Because they know what was coming. They're setting it up, right? And again, everything we're seeing is strategic moves for setups, And again, just another resource, right? So if you can't get it from A, you get it from B, right? So you can't get it from America in the great tariff wars of 2025, 2026. You're going to go to Canada and you're going to look at the king appointed Mark Carney guy,
Yeah.
little Goldman
That's
Sachs buddy,
exactly what they did.
you know, and you're going to go, I'm going to cut you a grand old deal. And
That's
then what
exactly
was the
what they did.
latest? Like you get to go visit China and you don't even need a visa or
I
something.
don't need a visa anymore to go
yeah,
visit China. I'm
right.
thinking about it. Seriously. They
So
won't
there's
they
some
won't throw me in
there's
jail because I'm Canadian.
well again yeah right I know just wear that maple leaf, buddy. They'll leave you alone. They won't know you're an American. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll learn some language things. I'll be
Yeah.
polite. I just want to
Just
see
say
some
A a
stuff.
lot.
That's all. I just want to
Just
see
say
what
a
they're
boo.
doing in their drone factories and take
Oh
pictures
man,
of
yeah, yeah. Well, again, the Club K problem. Okay, so your shipping went down, right? You got a bunch of like shipping, ships sitting around, nothing going on, but the ports are flooded with them putting in Club Ks, right? Okay. And
Mhm.
again, back to Taiwan. You know what? That beachhead, it's just going to be a drone swarm with package, right? And they're just going to obliterate anything. There is nothing stopping this shit. And since we're now selling them high grade shit in Taiwan to fight back, you're still outnumbered. In game theory, you're going to lose this shit as quick as possible.
That's
I mean, they
true.
literally, it's the same thing. Like Taiwan Semiconductor Corp, everything goes south. They literally have a dead man switch
Right.
on it. They're just going to blow it,
And you know
so
what?
China can't get it.
Guess where Denmark gets all of its jet fighters from?
hmm
They,
Well,
they get
the
them from
F-35 problem, dude.
they get
They
them
have a
from the
kill switch
U.S.
built. They got a kill switch built into the F-35. If we get pissed at them, we can literally shut off their shit.
I mean,
And
so what does that tell
it's
you?
crazy.
There,
Yeah.
there is no. We don't need. Okay, sorry, I'm not saying we because I'm not in Canada, but I mean we're basically
Yeah.
just the retarded fucking short bus version of
Well,
the U.S.
it's a we. Well,
So-
the short bus was sending 32 dudes from Europe to Greenland. Here we're bolstering the troops with 32 guys and a dog sled team. So kudos for that.
But I mean,
that's a short bus. Too,
I
yeah.
think Greenland. I think you and Greenland are already on the same side. You're just
yeah. Yeah.
doing this controversial, fake discourse.
Well, there's a point where people
for
catch
show.
on.
Like
Yeah.
it's like it's supposed to fool their enemies, but it's not
Yeah.
fooling anyone.
Well, deception's not. They're not very good at this anymore.
They gotta start using AI for this shit, man, or no one's gonna buy it.
All right, and I was joking about this. I don't ever make videos, but I might do one of the ones just for shits and giggles. And I was talking to Karen about this. All right, how often do you think of Rome?
Rome?
How often do you think of Rome? How often do you? How often do you think of the fall of Rome? This old adage has been going around for a few years.
Probably not very often. I
Okay.
mean, now is the only time I can remember.
So, in the context of the fall of Rome, I mean, the Vandals are at the gates, buddy. I don't know what else to say. Like, we're witnessing this. We're witnessing, and one of my bigger beefs is the levels of corruption, right? Here in America, worldwide, all this, right? This is surmounting public discourse at a certain point where
Sure
people
is.
are talking about it, but they're not talking about it, but they're getting pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, okay, Smalley, the two Smalley guys, 700 million in cash, right? At the airport. Like, what the shit, dude? Seriously, what institution gave them 700 million in cash? Okay, we're talking levels of corruption
My wife
that,
gave it
that
to me.
should pissed off everybody.
This
dude,
was
while
given
I'm-
to me by my wife.
Yeah. Okay. And again, try not to touch on subjects that are going to piss people off or do anything, trust me, okay. So, but here's where I'm at on this. It's like these levels of corruption worldwide, it's the same thing like Ursula von der Leyen's bullshit, Klaus Schwab's bullshit, your billionaire bullshit, be it Adelson, be it like Soros, everybody's pretty much fed up with this crap. We're all trying to struggle as everything is more costly, everything's changing our lives drastically and making desperation. And desperation by design is also a psyop to keep you from looking at the important factors. Again,
Yep.
people shouldn't be at each other's throats. We should be working together and pointing fingers at the jackasses that are pulling this shit. You know,
Exactly.
so where we're at, like right now, geopolitically too, back on this, like, predictions for the year are, again, I brought it up last time. Again, I freaking trying not to rehash it, but the zeitgeist is building. People are pissed worldwide. Color revolutions, the Iranian thing, all this. Remember, in the background, you have other countries manipulating things, right? And governments. Okay. It was like taking Iran, right? Bibi totally wants this shit happening. We're waiting for the boats to show up like last time around so they don't get completely glassed over, and have to resort to the Samson option. But you think China's plan? Dude, 85% of their natural gas comes from Iran. They cannot afford to have Iran get taken, you know and the same thing, partnerships, like as far as trade goes. Turkey's a wild card in NATO, right? Beyond belief. Turkey's about fed up with everybody's fucking crap, you know and while we're looking at Europe and we're looking at social decline in Europe, and people getting pissed off, we're forgetting that all dysfunctions of systems that happen right now that we rely on. I mean, we've talked about food from other parts of the world. We've talked about it has to get from A to B. And there's an integrated system of AIs that are completely controlling and screwing this shit up, affecting the physical structures at the same time. Like your Chinese ports worldwide are mostly robotic also, but China controls that.
Yeah, they're
You know,
automated.
well, they're finding it was the same thing where they're finding backdoors built into everything. And again, just because we complain about finding it from other people's shit doesn't mean we don't. Like our F-35, it's got a kill switch. You want a NATO country getting pissed at us, we can turn those damn things off. You know what I
So,
mean?
what I want to point out here is that China's level of automation is like literally, we haven't seen anything like that here in the US. If you think a car factory or what Tesla's doing is automation, I mean,
Mhm.
it's pretty impressive, yeah, but if you go look at some of China's ports, they're automated. They're like,
Yeah.
you think the Gigafactory is big? These ports are literally like, I mean, tens of thousands of acres. Like, they're
But
huge.
this is why we're building the infrastructure for it. This is what the data centers are about. We're everybody's. It's kind of like how people go back to World War II in reference to things all the time. The game changed. We're in a whole new thing. So if you're going to rebuild it, and again, what was the bullshit? Build it back better means you got to
Well,
destroy shit first, right? But we're building a newer infrastructure for a newer system
I think
that is
also
unlike
there's going to
completely
be
the
a
old one.
shortage of energy if we don't figure out how to power these data centers, because all
Yeah,
everybody keeps
we're already
talking
there.
about when it comes to data centers is how much water and electricity they're going to
Yeah,
consume. Like,
yeah,
in some cases more than a city,
yeah.
which is
Well,
okay, where are
Rod
they going to
Miller is
get
the
all this
great one.
power from? They must know something.
Okay, so Rod Miller is a great one. I always suggest this guy. He's awesome. He's like Gen Xer. Okay, yay, best generation here. So this is the point. Okay, so we're at the point, and I read this a week and a half ago. We're going to take a decommissioned nuclear reactor out of a sub, and it's being bought by one of the tech companies, and they're going to use that. And we're already on the scale of using untested, unproven um, small modular reactors, which again are just as sketchy as the current shit we have. You still have the where am I going to bury this over time? Your thorium reactors are much safer, but there's only a couple companies working on that. So we have to. I mean, the Stargate project alone in Texas requires a minimum of 9 reactors. So we're into scales of power that we're not there, let alone the transmission, let alone anything else. So we, again, all the mass resources that we need, copper, everything else, prices drive based on demand, okay, for industrials, okay. And so what we're doing right now is that we have to build these, but we're building base areas. We're building out infrastructure in small areas that have the potential to expand. Or are we going back to the entire concept of like, yeah, I'm going to build this massive data center, then I'm going to build the factories, then I'm going to build the plants and expand around it and keep it contained because we literally don't have the transmission from coast to coast that we need. right? And so we're going to start seeing more and more of this. This is happening around me. It's happening quite a bit. I'm in one of those states that totally sold their asses out, that all your utility costs are going up, your aquifer, which looks out that ours is always being refilled, because of where it's located to the Great Lakes. But that's part of the reason that they politically and also with the sway of politicians convince them, because the resources were there and that's why they want to do that.
Yeah, totally.
So, but no, I mean, they're revamping the system. Ready or not, kittens. I mean, we're doing this, dude. And we have no say in this, no matter what we do.
Okay,
honestly.
Let me ask you this. I mean, if it seems like they're going to be able to put that many resources into getting these data centers up and running without the current infrastructure, so they have to build the infrastructure first.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that mean that they could at least maybe somehow put in an adapter or a plug into the current existing grid in your country, which is, from what I hear, really vulnerable to a lot of different things, not to mention domestic terrorism.
If there were a lights out, honestly, if there were a lights out,
what I heard is if
right
6 or 7 transformers go out, and they're the right ones
it's
in your
9,
country, or 9, okay, then you're basically without electricity almost nationwide for no less than 3 years.
So your massive transformers, this is a huge problem again, and it goes back to like some of Sarah Adams' work and others. The red cell problem. I bring this up, people laugh. This ain't a fucking joke. So we inundated millions of people and unvetted, and we have no idea. We lost track of 20,000 military-age Chinese. Like, all this is documented shit, dude. None of this is conspiracy theory. Look it up. Feel free. The red cell problem, if it ever gets activated, we're utterly fucked, right? But your transformers like those, we don't produce them, dude.
I know,
Take
China
a wild guess.
does.
Yeah, and so does Russia. And one, I can't remember, Norway on a small scale pumps out like 2 a year or some shit.
And there's a waiting list.
Dude, the waiting list is like 10 years at this point.
Oh, I didn't know it was that much.
Because of the buildup. Well, okay, so the buildup of infrastructure worldwide, like the investments in Africa and a variety of other things. Like, okay, they're
even
Chinese,
in Venezuela,
for example,
China. I believe China
it's in their
supplied them
interest
with
to sell
some.
to them. Yeah, but it's in their interest to be selling those to Africa to build up Africa, right? So we're at the bottom of the list, and you start pissing people off, we're cut off. We're already being cut off. Again, this is what I was saying about rare earth elements, and then we just pulled the strategic move here for it.
Yeah.
Officially, and so there's a lot of, again, sketchy going on that we're not looking in a long-term prospect for. Again, domestically, we need to be building our own crap. We have for a long time, but corporate and corporations, God, dude, it's just going to be the downfall of all of us at the rate this is going with the crazy ass people in charge. Nihilistic corporate capitalism, right?
Yeah,
they're in it for the dollar. Everyone's expendable, right? And again, I'm just a schmo. You're a schmo. We're all schmoes.
Even the dollars are expendable.
Yeah.
Everything's expendable to these psychos.
Yeah. Well, okay. So same thing. What's inflation really? It's a different form of aggregating your wealth, right, and taking it away from you. Right. Again, not giving financial advice, but this is absolutely it. If I bought silver at 15, literally have some.
Hey, you just made me think of Rome.
It's now worth 100. Show me an investment on this planet that can do that.
That's the second time I've thought of Rome today, dude.
There you go. All right. So again, vandals are at the gates, boy.
Okay,
Your politicians are so corrupt, it's falling apart. We're relying on mercenaries. It literally is the fall of Rome.
We're going to take a short break here right now because stuff needs to happen behind the scenes. We don't need to get into details, but I have music too that will fit right in here nicely. I think. I hope. Maybe I didn't get the song title right, but and you know what? I got that thing you sent me for your intro tune,
did you?
but
awesome.
I want to work. I want to work with it and cut it in. Well, just stuff needs to happen before I did it.
I don't want to get tagged either.
I wasn't able to do it today, but don't worry, I'll have it ready for possibly next time.
If the algo overlords are listening, I love you, man. I will find offerings of resistors and capacitors for you.
That's awesome. Okay. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes, folks. Do your thing, get a refill. PPP, whatever you need to do. It's a Polynation broadcast. Chilling in the greenhouse with Mike Mont, and we'll be back after a couple of tunes, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Who knows? Just stay tuned, that's all. See you in a bit.
You will go like a killer.
sky. Set all you freedom mine. Oh, all you freedom mine. Oh, we're young and fast.
Lighting up the sky, lighting up the sky.
Sweet, sweet drug or not. Oh, rocket, rocket launch. Oh, Mr. Holy High, so blow your nose out. Set all your freedom mine. All your freedom mine. Oh, we're young and fast. Oh, light up the sky. Light up the sky.
This is Dark Clouds Rain Soul by Break Estra. Polynation Broadcast will be back after this tune with more of myself and Mike Mont. Polynation Broadcast, groundzeroplus.com. but where I am, dark clouds, they don't rain soul. They rain snow. And when you're listening to that song, walking down the street, and you're trying to look cool because the song is so funky and you just got your headphones on, you're walking down the street and there's all this snow on the ground, it looks ridiculous. So, I don't know. Dark Clouds, Rain Soul, good song. But if you're in Canada or China, as I like to call it, it's becoming more China as we speak. Maybe we'll get into that, but maybe not. I want to pivot a little bit. We've got Mike Mont here in the greenhouse. And, Mike, yeah, dude, I want to pivot a little bit. And just take a total 90 degree here. And there's another prediction that I have for 2026. And that is what I would call a food fad. Okay, I usually can't go. I can't go very many shows without talking about food at some point. But
oh no, I have that problem too, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally my first word as a baby too. So like, I think I was destined to talk about food at some point. But I think the resurgence of old school, like 1930s Depression Victory Garden type technology. And I'm using that the technology term very loosely here, but like, you know, old ways of preserving food, old ways of looking at ingredients, because a lot of the old ingredients that we used to use, things like bacon fat and lard and, you know, all the animal stuff that was high in cholesterol, it's already started, really. It's becoming there's a resurgence in the old ways, because the old ways worked.
Well, okay, like ghee, right?
Perfect example.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so like ghee is clarified butter that's like shelf stable. Literally, an unopened jar of ghee is good for a few years, right? So I can take butter, remove the liquid water content, remove the solids that are gonna go bad.
Yep, you remove the fat solids
and make it stable, and then I have just basically the greatest version of butter ever made.
You have clarified sunlight, dude.
You know it.
That's
all right.
Basically what it is.
So, and again, not to diss too fucking hard on the medical industry, but I'm about to here on that one. Like, your mind, your gray matter, that shit that is up there building neurons and our memories was subjugated and destroyed to the usage of statins and a variety of other things. Again, I'm not giving medical advice, and this is my own opinion. So if the AI is listening, just, you know, go with me on this.
Yeah, it's your opinion. Yeah, but opinions are welcome here in the greenhouse. I mean, like, lots of plants can deal with opinions.
Those bad cholesterols you need neurologically.
Yeah.
Right? And this is a thing. So I always use butter. I use olive oil. We've been through this, man. I use, you know, like avocado oil and stuff like that. I avoid all seed oils, you know, canola, rapeseed, blah, 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 you know, and all that. Occasionally peanut oil, depending upon what I'm doing, if I need a high heat thing.
Right.
You know, like
or
if
depending on whether or not you want to get rid of somebody with a peanut allergy.
Yeah, well, there's that. You know, that's the same thing. No, you know, I mean, that's weird too, and that's another thing that came up. And this is like totally going.
Well, here's my prediction for 2026 regarding the peanut allergy is people are going to start feeding their infants, 3 months old, maybe a little older, peanut butter.
Okay.
So guess what that's going to do? It's going to make them never allergic to peanut butter ever.
Yeah, okay. And so here's the thing. In college, I used to eat apple seeds, right? So, and again, I'm not, this is like avoid Darwinism. Don't eat a quarter cup of apple seeds. It will kill you, all right, through sodium cyanide.
Well, also, you'll grow an apple tree in your stomach, bro.
Well, right, I know. Well, everybody should be Johnny
Everybody
Appleseed.
knows that.
I know. But I mean, the thing is, okay, so it's an old school methodology from the Middle Ages. And what it is, like, I used to do a lot of plating, right? And I really don't do it anymore. And a lot of it's cyanide based solutions. And if it comes in contact with acid, it produces a cyanide gas.
Yeah.
And the way, and if you ever, and this is just, like weird ass knowledge. So when you smell like blossoms, like a magnolia or a fruity smell, you're already dead. All right. So the trick was, in case something accidentally happened, I would build up a tolerance to it to survive it by eating apple seeds. So I would chew probably two or three, maybe four apple seeds every other day, right? And just eat them. So my body gained that resistance to
Hmm.
cyanide in case that accident happened. Again, always use proper ventilation. I'm
Yeah,
safety first,
you
dude.
basically
Yeah,
did the
I
same
should have
thing as
freaking
the
worked for OSHA, right?
you did the same
So
thing as the Princess Bride.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you,
Oh my god, my brother just showed my 5-year-old niece The Princess Bride for the first time, and she freaking loved it, and I'm so happy about
oh,
that
it's one
fact.
of the best fairy
Honestly,
tales ever.
again, and again, as the greatest uncle ever, I bought her the quarter size violin. She's been tormenting my brother, so it's awesome. So he kind of got it coming. You know how siblings work.
Don't they call that a
So
fiddle?
yeah, well, I almost wanted. I started playing it like when I got it, and I'm like, nah, I get it for my niece. And I was like working on it. Grandpa used to play fiddle,
Yeah,
and in fact,
not as easy as it looks, is it?
well, heirlooms. Like one of my nephews ended up with Grandpa's fiddle, so it's kind of cool, man. It is kind of cool.
Hey,
Of course, I'm
what
horrible
do you
at
think
it.
the predictions for music and how AI is allowed to utilize? Like, I'm sure even human artists going forward are gonna feel like if I don't use it, other artists are gonna use it. It's a very competitive industry. I need
It's the
the
same
next
thing as
number one
Hollywood.
album, and AI knows
Yeah.
how to make music that literally. AI's music, if it wants to, can make you cry in 20 seconds.
Yeah. Well, remember,
Or
again, okay.
it can make you happy in 20 seconds. Like
So
it
yeah,
knows how the human brain reacts to music, and it can write banger after banger after banger. And if all you
pneumatic
gotta do is
engineering.
type in your own poetry,
Yeah,
then you're a musician now.
it's going the same direction as Hollywood, like I was saying earlier.
Yep.
Why pay a musician all these millions of dollars and make your mega rock star when you can make your own and
Yeah.
keep all the profits, right? Okay, again,
I mean, I don't even know
corporations
if
and
half the
nihilistic
music I
capitalism.
play on Saturdays is even real music or if it's AI generated. Not that that's not real music, but
Well,
like
you played with it for a while and you knocked out
exactly.
some bangers,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. But then again, you made your own personal decisions as to why or why not,
Yeah,
right?
but it wasn't that
And
many,
again,
man. It was alarmingly not that many.
yeah, I know. Well, everybody should have that same context in their mind to some extent, like about the things that they do.
I think so
And get
too.
and get the world would be a better place if everybody could dial back the nefarious nature.
I
And this
think
is the problem with
you think that the word of the next year is going to be sketchy, and I'm going to
yeah.
say that it's a similar sounding word, but I think the word of the year is going to be scrutiny.
Well, it's going to go hand in hand.
Yeah,
And it has
it's
to.
going to be
It has to.
scrutinize
Yeah.
everything, folks,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
because
I'm the biggest proponent of critical thinking that you'll ever meet. Like honestly, it's the guy that somebody's rambling at you, and the dude's standing there looking at you, and I'm that guy.
I don't go
That
to
guy
I
that's
don't
sitting
go
here analyzing
I
the
don't go
shit
out
coming
anymore.
out of someone else's mouth before I open mine.
Dude, if
Right?
someone starts talking to me out in public, I usually just pretend I'm wearing headphones and ignore them.
Oh, dude, I know. All right. Well, toxic apathy. Well,
That's what I do.
I think, dude, I was trying to lighten things, but this is the whole thing, right? Everyone's becoming toxic apathy because they have too much shit to deal with in their plate, right? And I
Mhm.
get it. I get it. Totally get it. As a neutral guy,
Everyone's
same
looking
thing.
for
Yeah.
an outlet for that too, right? And that's kind of what's going on.
Well,
Is they're just like what
so
they're doing is they're popping points of pressure, and people are just like,
yeah,
"Oh, we can release pressure through this outlet. I'm gonna go and fight for this cause, or I'm gonna go
yeah.
and fight for that cause, or I'm gonna take this side or that side or
Well,
whatever."
it's virtue signaling and becoming main character versus NPC, right?
Yep.
Everyone's starting to disassociate. And okay, so one of the key factors in social decline, and I think there's like seven, and number five generally is in stages, right? Seven. And number five is this disassociation and then the vilification of others that disagree with you and the dehumanization factor. And this is a historical fact. I mean, look at World War II. God, I can't even believe we just brought up World War II again. But look at World War II and dehumanization, right? Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this on a grand scale. And it is problem. It is a team's effort at fucking shit up because people are playing teams. All right. You know, instead of unification and building bridges, people are just bent in their own little worlds or myopic thought bubbles. Their entire realities are already stressed out enough to the point where that they don't care about shit, but they have angst and they want to
Yeah.
vent it somewhere, and typically the wrong direction as usual. You know, so I mean, this is something that we all need to overwhelm in our own minds, and we again critical thinking. And at the same point, and I brought this up like 3 months ago, that everyone needs to step back for a second and self-analyze.
Yeah.
And self-analyze.
I would
the
go
shit
even
coming out of
further,
our mouths, you
dude.
know?
I would go even further than that and say that you should have to take a sort of a critical thinking test
Mhm.
before you're allowed to have children.
Well, you know, I mean, it might help, but I don't know. You know,
And,
again,
and
we're
I'm
already,
not saying
we're
I'm
in
not saying, like,
idiocracy, dude.
no,
I
no, no,
mean,
because like a lot of people are gonna say right off the top, I can already hear them. Eugenicist. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what race you are. We have the same test for all the races, for all adults. Okay, just
Yeah.
just test their critically thinking
It's-
because we don't want
it's the
to.
driver's exam.
We
dude.
don't
It's
want to
the
keep
basic
passing
competencies.
down, like, you know, people that can't critically think, and they're going to make more people that can't critically think, and eventually everybody can't critically think. And
Yeah.
you know, there's
Well-
never been a time in human history, I'm just saying, where there's been a test where you have to have a test, because I guess it's a God-given right, but I'm not going to argue with that. But
Okay.
there's never been a point in human history where you get tested for whether or not you're suitable to be a part of the process of evolution. I guess you
So,
could say. And I think maybe
you-
AI is going to
yeah.
definitely play a huge part of that coming
right.
up.
There's okay, a couple points. All right, you and I are gamer guys, right? So Fallout, right? You take the goat, right? You know,
Yep.
the
Okay,
aptitude
yeah.
test, right? Okay, so I mean, opposed to it, against it, I don't know, man. I mean, we have like ASVABs for the military and shit like that. All right, let's figure out what you can do, right? You know, and I'm not opposed to it, but again, right now in America, we have mass quitting. Like, it is no longer the quiet quitting where people are being pressed out.
Right.
People are fed up on the teacher end. Like, a Gen Alpha is turning.
Is
into
that
the
because
biggest-
of the money, or is that because teachers got
No,
into it and
no.
they know
No,
the
they're
curriculum's
fed
failing
up.
them?
They're fed up with kids and their screens and their
Oh.
attitudes,
They-
and
they're
just
unteachable.
the bullshit thrown at them, right? You know, and even in my job, I'm seeing a generation right now going through that like was in COVID. You know, and like they're just fucking dysfunctional, and I don't know what the fuck to say. I mean, there's in this, and this is a broad concept. I'm not.
It's
picking
hard
on
not to be
people.
cynical if you
You know,
go through if you go
Okay.
through COVID at that age. It's hard not to be cynical, though, right? Like,
But
I mean,
the teachers are fed up because they're being conditioned by basically the reality. Like, you and I didn't have this. Like, we didn't have this shit when we grew up.
it's
Right?
true.
Gen
Yeah,
Xers.
you're right.
Okay. So the problem is that this generation right now, with everything that's going on, and now you have AI influence, they're really being pneumatically engineered, and they literally don't have these basic social skills.
Well,
And this is getting worse. And teachers are fed up. They're literally tolerating this shit for like a couple months, and they're like, "Fuck it, I'm out." Like, I know at least two, and like good friends of mine that are out.
Well,
They're
I would
out.
say
I even
if-
know
I
college
mean,
professors that say, "I'm out."
these teachers
know.
should be looking at starting their own schools.
Well, there's different methodologies of teaching, right? You know, and some of your more private
They
education
they
stuff
can use
is
AI
good.
as, I mean, they can
Yeah.
literally use AI to make curriculum for what they would want to teach. What they think it, why they got into teaching for the in the first place, which was to help, people learn,
Yeah.
expand, question things, critically think. I thought that's what education meant. If you go look up the
Well,
original word, it
the
means
grander
to
the
like,
grander scheme I was getting at though is that like it's the checkout factor. Like when your
that's,
students are
yeah.
checked out, your teachers are checking out in return,
It's
right?
kind of like a programmed fatalism in a way.
It is. It is. And this is unfortunate, and AI is amplifying this effect.
It is,
Look,
but it can be
no one.
used to awaken people to it as well, I
Yeah,
think.
but okay, so like higher education, when you compound all these factors together, being cost, every year the costs go up, it costs more to go to school. I brought this up. God damn, I keep on doing that. I'm bringing up shit I already talked
Yeah.
about, but it's
It's
a
okay,
reinforcement.
man. No one
Okay,
remembers
so
2 weeks ago.
I know, right? Basically, pretty much.
It doesn't
I,
matter, dude. It doesn't
the
matter. No
attention
worries.
span's less than a goldfish societal lives
Sometimes
right
you have
now.
to
So
say things more than once for people to
yeah.
get it, anyways. So
All right. So your bigger problem is it costs more and more. So higher education is decline, and it's going to see a larger collapse this year, right? I mean, we are literally throwing free shit at people to get them to go to school, and they literally aren't even taking the bait, right? Okay. And again, there's many other things we could bitch about,
it's
like
a
about
huge part of
like
the
how
immigration problem too. Part of the
yeah.
reason why they want immigrants in the country is so they can fill these seats in these universities and colleges and everywhere.
Well, okay, so foreign students too, but then there all the factors involved. Okay, so when you throw at sponsorships, let's say I'm in India, Punjabi, something like that, and I have a caste system and I want to move up, but I can get thrown money by a corporation to go to America and get an education and then come back. Okay, and I know a lot of Indian students and stuff like that.
Is it
Great people,
true
don't
that
get me wrong.
is it true that if you're Punjabi and you want to go to the United States, you have to wear a turban that's either red, white, or blue?
No, not at
Oh,
all.
okay. I heard that. I
Dude,
thought it was funny.
it's like college.
I thought, you know
everywhere.
what,
Like,
Trump.
woohoo, I'm
I
out the
thought,
door. You know?
I thought Trump.
All
Yeah,
right,
he'd
yeah.
do that.
Yeah, right. Well, that's part of the problem with it. So when you start putting these weird legal limitations like Trump did on students and things like that and corporate structures, then they looked at it and go, fuck it, I'm going to go to school in Europe instead. Right. So you have a decline in
Whoa.
international students. And the same thing, intellectual property rights, right? And the Chinese student problem that went on for a number of years, and a variety of other things, and sponsorship, and who's paying the bill
Yeah.
on your end, and then you owe somebody. Again,
But
this
okay,
is
here's the
I've
thing.
been bringing this up for months, dude.
But
It's
here's
all
the
freaking
thing.
mafia tactics, dude.
Here's
So,
the thing, and this is secondhand information, but it's coming from a guy who used to
yeah,
live there, and he went to school there, and I'm talking about India, and he goes,
yeah.
if you can't make it into school in India, you just come to Canada or the USA.
Yeah, dude, it's totally true. It's totally
Because
true.
they have
It's
higher
a different
standards.
vetting system.
It's
Yeah,
like they're just
exactly.
sending us all their idiots.
Yep.
They,
Yep.
well, I'm not saying they're sending idiots, but I mean, like, they
Look, I'm
have
not
a
dissing
higher
on
standard
anybody
and a
either.
lot more people as well. So I imagine it's a lot more competitive. That's not what I'm kind of making just a cheeky joke here.
It
but,
is. It is.
But I mean, they're people that aren't smart enough to get into school in their own country have to come here.
Well, it's the same.
To
I mean,
be
it's
like
the
a
old
physicist or like
dude.
a
It's like the old
computer
joke, man. Like
well,
I got my med degree in Aruba, kind of bullshit,
not
dude.
so
Right?
much computer programmers anymore, but
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. Okay, so even then, and then we have like who currently, like whatever, like pro wrestling chick in education, and she just limited like the definitions of certain degrees
wait,
for funding.
wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Did you just say there's a pro wrestling chick at something to do with education?
Oh yeah. Okay. So
Wait,
like
you gotta
the,
tell you gotta
my-
explain this.
Our
I'm
Department
totally-
of Education is about the biggest shit show in history, and it's hilarious, dude. At this point, you have I cannot remember her
Okay,
name.
you gotta
offhand.
tell
I'm
me.
not
This
even
is-
gonna try. Okay. So she was like whatever the CEO of like the WWF, and then she got appointed into education, and then they've been revamping education where it's state funding and all this other crap, and like
It's so
I
obvious.
this
Oh my
is
God.
idiocracy, dude. We're in idiocracy.
That's crazy.
You know, I mean, I keep on saying this all the freaking time. Like, I got my degree from Costco, kind of level bullshit, dude. You know, and this is where we're at. And but the part of the bigger problem is that everyone needs quality educations and proper educations instead of indoctrinations and all that. And I'm not even going to play the political game on any of this because I'm neutral. I'm going to recognize both
Well,
sides and their stupidity, and I'm
I
going to call
think
shit
your
out.
I think your
You know.
education should definitely like at least have some kind of influence from your outside environment. Like, like there should be different education systems in different parts of the world because you have different stuff to deal with.
Well, okay, so there was the push for a long time for vocational, right? You know, we need more HVAC guys, plumbers. AIs can't do it, and robots can't do it.
I
Well, that
heard
shit's
there's a
coming real
huge
quick.
shortage of HVAC guys.
Yeah, okay. So, but that shit's gonna be irrelevant. I mean, again, the Consumer Electronics Show. I just looked at shit that like science fiction, science fact, right? You know, I'm looking at articulation of armatures and basically mimicking of the human hand that's capable of doing our jobs, you know, and the dangerous ones too, which, you know, I'm not necessarily opposed to that, you know, and all that. So, but is replacement theory of job structures. And this is happening again. We went back to layoffs, but there's more to it that is going to advance quickly and exponentially in the next year.
Yeah, I think this is going to
So,
be definitely one of those advancements that happens quicker than the Industrial Revolution.
well, okay,
It's going to happen way faster.
so corporate America started laying everybody off in the white collar shit, right? Okay, and we're going to replace them with AIs, and they realize the AIs are dysfunctional.
Yep.
But every day those AIs
They
get
started doing
better
that
and
2
better,
years
and
ago.
yeah, and they get better and better and faster. So what you're seeing is kind of the red herring right now, where it's the backlash, but people aren't realizing that give it 6 months and that backlash will be gone and your ass is gone, not of a job.
Exactly.
Right. You know, and it's the same thing in journalism. I mean, like more than once did they sneak in the AIs right in the articles, and people didn't give it credit because they didn't realize it until they gave up the ghost, said that's what they were doing as a test run, and then people had a backlash, but then they shut up. But then you're seeing more and more of it now. Again, it's a slow burn. It's getting people conditioned, right? You know, and I just think right now that we need to do this turnaround right now. You know, we need to start really, I mean, again, we piss all our money away on blowing shit up, dude. We just double our defense budget. It had to do with AIs, it has to do with the Sentinel system.
You guys
and a
just
bunch of other shit.
added, like willy-nilly,
Yeah,
Trump
I
just
know.
said, you know what, we're going to spend another $500 billion on our military. And people are like,
I know.
okay.
I
No
know.
one says, hey, wait a minute. Where are you going to get that money from?
Well, then you play teams, and then you cut off states and their.
You know what they're going to
fundings,
say?
and,
They're going to
you
say
know.
it's from tariffs. We got so much money from
Well-
tariffs, we don't even know what to do with it, so we're going to just throw it at the military.
So tariffs are weird things. Like every other country has a tariff, but then if we do it, like we're the bad guy. It's kind of weird, right? You know. And again, we're dealing with an egomaniac that wants to.
I'm not saying
like,
tariffs are bad, but I mean, at least admit that the money you're making from tariffs, that's how we're able to do it. Like, because people,
Yeah.
you don't think people are asking, like, wait a minute, all of a sudden now we have an extra 500 billion. How many billions did we send to Ukraine? How many
Well,
billions did
yeah,
we
but
send
there's
to
a lot of-
Israel? And we still have an extra 500 billion to spare? That's $500 billion, dude.
No, I know, man. And then on top
What
of
do you
it,
mean?
you throw lawfare in there, and they're arguing back and
They
forth.
have
playing
so much
teams.
more money. That's what I'm saying. They have trillions and trillions of dollars just waiting in a box somewhere. And they're just going to be like, you know what? We need to up our military spending. We're going to add $3 trillion. Because you remember there was one time in 2001, right before 9/11, there was this thing, and I think it was Donald Rumsfeld, or who, I don't know who the
Yeah,
hell it
yeah.
was. But he's like, you know what? We can't find, like, what was it, $28 trillion?
Well, the day before, yeah,
Just
they were.
we just don't know where it is. Well, I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, that's where it is. That's where you can throw $500 million into something willy-nilly. Like, I mean,
Well, years ago we separated defense budgets too. Your nuclear, like
If you
weapon systems
steal,
budget is separate from the other budget.
if you
And right now
steal
we're replacing shit
$27
with the
trillion
Sentinel
dollars, dude,
Yeah,
you're
I
gonna
know.
be able to throw around billions for a long time.
Well, again, everybody, if you said in the 80s $1 trillion, everybody's like, that's insane. And now $1 trillion got normalized as to being like common.
Oh,
right.
it takes
You
a
know-
generation. It takes a generation just to educate the population on what the next number, but after
I
trillion
know.
is.
I know. Hey, dude, you know what time it is, right? You know what time it is, right?
Oh shit, it's 4:20. Yeah, you're
It
right.
is.
Good
It
eyes,
is.
man. Good eyes.
There you go. There you
So yeah, 4:20. We might as well shout out that now it's 4:21. Almost made it. Anyways, we do this. GroundZeroPlus.com. If you're a member and in the chat room, that's the greenhouse. It's 4:20, and Mike Mont's here, obviously, so we won't shout you out, Mike. But otherwise, in here we have today Aniki's here, the gift queen of the greenhouse. We've got Eric in here. We've got Dez. We've got Dats in Focus. We got Sonny. We got Mitch Durbin, Mr. B, and Amber's here. And I saw a couple other people, but I can't remember who they were. John. John was here. Who else?
Yeah, Lisa was kicking around for a while.
Lisa
I
was
think.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and I hope you're enjoying the conversation. I'm not gonna play any music right now to separate that. I'm just gonna leave that where it is, and we'll get back into it. So
All right.
we
You were
kinda-
bringing up a comment.
Well,
right?
I was bringing up the food fad about how people are
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
They literally just flipped the food pyramid upside down,
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
and I think people are really going to catch on to that.
Well, again, I think South Park did it at one point jokingly too, about all that. I mean, it turned into this whole thing that, I mean, Edward Bernays would be happy, right? I mean, he convinced everybody that you have to have bacon for breakfast, right? All that. And for years, like corporations, Nestle, all of them.
Oh, it's not just that,
You know,
man. When you have
yeah.
bacon for breakfast, you have a coffee filter set up in a mason jar on the side of your stove, and you strain off the bacon fat, and you keep that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go bad.
Which everyone should.
Yeah, I mean, it can be salty. That's the only thing, but it depends on the bacon you use. But you can preserve things in that. You can use it exactly like lard. You can put it in baking. You can use it as cooking oil. And it's
Yeah.
good for you. The
I know.
cholesterol in it is good for you.
I
And-
mean, you may have to watch, depending upon the type of bacon, the salt content. and
I
shit
think
like that,
2026 is going to be the year when people wake up about stuff that,
Yeah.
people used to think is bad for you, and that's what gave grandfather a heart attack or whatever, because,
Well,
it's all
that's
going to
one
be thrown
thing-
out the window.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing. And again, back to a lot
And I'm not
of,
giving any health advice.
Exactly. And medical advice, or in the medical industries, like, little shots at things.
Or
But
dietary
one thing that is
advice.
going to happen. One thing that is going to happen this year is your food prices by the end of the year will triple.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Food
You know,
prices are definitely
and-
going to go through the roof.
Well, a lot of people, again, you and I are both like huge proponents of gardening.
It's going to be,
pulling it together,
but this is the
producing
thing.
your own.
Food prices going through the roof could be a good thing in a way, in the fact that it's going to literally force people into growing. Like, if you want carrots, you can't
Yeah.
afford them. You got to grow them. And if you
Well, the
want to grow
restaurant
them
industry's in
the next
collapse
year,
already.
you got to learn how
Yeah.
to save carrots in the ground, let them flower the next year so you can get seeds. Like, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
like,
people are going to learn to cook.
they're going to
too,
have to force
know.
themselves to learn it. Exactly. And I think
Yeah.
in a way that's
Yeah.
a good thing, because we need to get back to these like old school root values of, pardon the pun, speaking of carrots, but like the value of real food.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you don't need to go to the grocery store if you already have it. And believe
Well,
me,
there's
the grocery
it's-
store
it's
at
gonna
some
be.
point this year is
Yeah.
going to get shut down. They're going to
there's
beta
there's
test
going to
it.
be a number of them. Well, it's not even that. Dynamic pricing took effect, like Walmart Corporation.
Yep.
A number of them, Albertsons, all that. I walk through the door, I'm being analyzed by AI, and they're going to decide what I'm going to pay for a product. The dude
I
next
wouldn't
to
be
me is paying
surprised
more or less.
if-
you know,
Either Walmart buys Amazon or Amazon buys Walmart, and they just merge.
well, Yeah, I mean, okay, so there's Larry Ellison and his kid buying up all the media. That's like a big screw you to the world. Rich guys pulling their bullshit. But same thing with Bezos and his.
Oh,
He's
dude,
getting into
I love
the
rich guys. What are you talking about? They're so nice. Don't
Yeah,
even.
all right, I know. But Bezos, he already did the Whole Foods thing and trying to stranglehold shit, and yeah, that's going to increase, right? You're going to see
Yeah.
that.
Rich guys love
I,
me, man. They keep throwing money at me, and I
well,
keep saying no. But
yeah, if
yeah,
only we had these problems in life.
yeah.
But I mean, there is going to be more of that where people are going to have to really kind of reconsider like their diets, their habits. Like things that were normal will become luxury, and I hate to say that, and that's one of the things this year that's
I
going
hate to say
to
it, man.
increase.
I hate to say it,
Yeah.
but I'm curious as to how this carbon butter thing is going to catch on that Bill Gates is
Oh my god,
funding.
dude! It's well, they already collapsed
It's
the
making me
I'm
buy
making
more
fake
butter
meat
and
shit.
throw it in the freezer. I'm like, I gotta buy butter while it's
The
still
Campbell's,
real.
the Campbell's. I know, dude, right? But the Campbell soup's backlash. Like there was like so many
I still eat Campbell's
little.
soup. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
What are you
I
gonna?
know.
I've been
Well,
eating it so long, it's too late, man.
it's the hot mic moments of rich dicks, dude. That's basically
Yeah.
what it is. Like this guy's being an asshole, and somebody got on the fucking and let it off to the world, and then everybody's
Could-
zeitgeist fucking increased.
Could even be AI.
Well, you never know.
I could
That's the other
make that
thing.
right now. I know enough about AI
Yeah.
that I could make that. All he would have to do is clip
Yeah.
30 seconds of his voice and then type in whatever I wanted him to say. And then I'd say, make it sound like it's a recording from somebody's pocket recorder.
Well, I mean,
And that's
we've been
it.
dealing with this. We've been dealing with this for a couple of years. Again, this is well. There's so many weird ass things on this level too that like okay, CES man just happened, the Consumer Electronics Show, man.
Yeah,
And I
love
know
that.
you and I were both delving into it, like the quadruped bot. So you remember like last
Oh,
year,
dude, we
where
could have done
they-
a whole show just on that show, like
I-
that.
well, I
thing.
know,
we
I
could
know,
have,
dude.
like,
But-
literally. There's so many things that came out were blowing my mind. The AR
but
glasses.
to refresh the memory, the AI generated guy riding the horse, like the mechanical horse, right? Looking kind of thing from last year. And then what am I seeing here? I'm seeing some like, Portal, like, playing video games kind of like robot that you're riding walking around, right? Science fiction, science fact, video games becoming real.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of thing. So like there's and same thing. I'm literally looking at as we speak right now. I'm pulling up the short clip of a freaking android. Okay, remember the difference in robots, androids. Androids are synthetic versions of people, like a synth that looks like a human being. This shit from a distance, I could not tell. Unless I got up close to that thing, I would not tell its movements, its actions,
Yeah.
everything, the synthetic skin. Like, I mean, we're there.
Until it
right?
kicks your
You
ass,
know?
and then you're like, no, that's definitely AI.
I know, right? Okay. But they pulled out, I mean, the tech there,
That
like
thing
Gorilla
punches like an
Glass.
AI girl.
Dude, well, again, combat bots. I'm not joking on that. You just saw like the Unitrees. You just saw like Boston Dynamics.
Oh.
You just saw stuff that while they play it off at this and that, then they show the other clips of it doing kung fu, and I'm a little
I saw this
concerned
video.
my robot butler might turn on me.
I saw this
Yeah.
video of a guy who was wearing like a body cam, and he was standing in front of one of those combat robots that knows kung fu, and the combat robot came and kicked him in the chest.
Yeah,
And the dude
yeah.
flew like 10 feet laterally
Yeah.
before he landed on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
And luckily he's
Well,
wearing a
again-
bulletproof vest and like protection, because if he
Okay,
wasn't,
so-
he would have broken all his ribs.
So there's the hydrodynamic version, which we'll see probably by the end of this year, right? Where synthetic muscles.
Yeah,
being
that's a
run
good
by-
prediction.
by hydrodynamics.
Humanoid
And
robots
that-
will be among us by the end of
You
this
can
year.
see it already, and this like Westworld, the new version that they put out on TV, like HBO, I think what was
Mhm.
a couple years ago. Like no joke on that shit, dude. Science fiction, science fact, totally becoming a thing, right? And I've seen the prototypes and I've seen all this, and it's frightening, man. It's literally mimicry in a mechanical.
It's
of,
only
like,
frightening
a
when you
person,
scale it
know?
up, though. I mean, it's not frightening when you look at one that's doing some parlor tricks in a demonstration, right? But if you
Yeah.
consider that someone could build 3 million of these things and
Well, again,
send them
yeah.
wherever they want, and they're all
Yeah.
programmed to do the same thing. kill anything that moves.
Well, again, it's nefarious means. I mean, like I was just joking. Like, okay, do I have to worry about my if I get a robot at home, and this thing is the same models as everything else? It does self learning, so when one learns, they all know it,
Right.
right? And if you integrate the AI systems in it, your combat robot,
Yeah, and they're multi-useful too.
and then now we're into like, remember, warfare used to be like air, sea, land. We added space. Now we added cyber. Well, there's a sixth version of this, at this point, we're getting into,
There's
because
gonna have to
we're
be.
getting into AI versus AI. And okay, do I have to worry about my robot butler being like capable of combat robot and turning on me because the
Well,
AI
that's just it.
got
Like,
fed up with their shit,
where is the
you know?
AI? Where is that
So-
robot made? Right? Like, how do you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people are gonna have to learn this stuff, like how to physically take stuff apart and make sure that, like, I mean, for example, Canada agreed. One of the agreements that I haven't really talked a lot about this, but I mean, Canada and China met. There's a lot of trade agreements that they've signed. One of them has to do with electronic vehicles, and
The EV stuff. Yeah.
there's like a ton of Chinese EVs coming over into the country. And what I'm thinking is, okay, so do we have to hire, as a Canadian government, I mean, I think it's a good idea to go into these cars and, like, before we release them to the market, make sure there's no kill switch or data siphon
Well,
or
just even
anything
safety
like that, like, or
factors.
even safety. Yeah, exactly. Like, how are they going to do all that? I don't think they are. I think they're just taking it on a handshake.
Well, there's again corporatism. That's kind of what's fucking the plan here on this one. So, is it how much more money do you want to spend on regulation at a point where you want taxpayer dollars and you want to piss them off even more by increasing budgets? Then you're going to start cutting corners. Again, it's all mafia tactics, right? This corporation is going to cut a deal with the government. They're going to give them promises. They're going to try to uphold their promises. The government's going to make concessions, stuff like that. But it's not even so much that. It's just that, like, everybody always had this 2030 agenda in their head, right? And like the 15-minute city and the automation and everything's going to be renewable energies, but it's all empty promises.
I have a
at certain
solution.
points,
I have a solution for the 15-minute city, because people are, like, really against the 15-minute city. But if you had a 15-minute government,
dude, right?
that would be
if only,
okay. Like, okay,
Yeah.
give me a 15-minute government and you can have a 15-minute
Well,
city.
term limits. I mean, this, and again, we're getting into political
That's a
season
fair
and
trade, I
shit.
think.
Political seasons and term limits. Everybody like says shit and never follows through, right? Just trying to make a fat cat not fat, right? And this is the thing where that's happening, and probably this year is another backlash societal wise, where people are really going to start pressing demands, and they're gonna enlighten themselves on these things that should have been changed, that were always promised, and they're going to push it. Now, I don't see the politicians bending to this at all, because they're
Well,
masters.
they're
are
told what to
us
do
in
anyways,
the end.
man. So,
Yeah,
like, they're not
that's
going to
exactly
bend
it.
unless they're allowed to bend by the powers
Yeah.
that be. I mean,
Well,
I think
I mean, if
some
you
of the
had term
powers
limits-
that we're talking about here are, like, they go beyond the structure of countries. They're telling countries what to do. Like, this
corporations
is the
are telling
power that I
countries what to do.
imagine that's really running shit. Is they're above, like, people that are in charge of countries or elected or whatever you want to call it. They're doing what they're told by something else. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, look at Venezuela, right? Okay, again, you had a bunch of oil companies going, that's a little sketchy. I don't know if I want to go
Yeah,
in
I
there.
think you guys in Venezuela are on the
okay.
same team.
But here's the same thing. Who's the old dog in the room that stepped up to the plate? Halliburton, right?
Yeah.
And this is where again, corporate influence in governmental structures and the tie-ins, And again, I was talking about Lucky, Palmer Lucky earlier, right? Okay, so he's bucking Grumman, Northrop, Boeing, all these other companies with his stuff. and again, we have our own little Bond villain, and at least he's working for us, okay, right? But here's the thing about it is exactly that. The dynamics of all of that is starting to change too. These structures that have been in place forever in corporatism are starting to change hands. You know,
Yeah.
AI is this aggregation down to like about 6 guys. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's they're gonna start doing what they're doing, and they're gonna get away with it because they've aggregated the power, they've knocked their competition, the old school, aside, and they're reworking the world in their images, in their mind.
So
And again, it's a
wonder-
frightening freaking context.
did you ever? There's been I guess you could call it a reel. It's not a meme because it's like at least a minute long, sort of a parody, I guess you could call it. And it's some guy pretending to be Maduro, and he's
Really?
he's
Yeah.
calling Donald Trump on the phone, and everybody's doing an imitation voice. You can clearly tell it's not Maduro or Donald Trump. It's just meant for a
Yeah.
joke. So I'm just putting
They're
that
doing
out there in
parody,
case
yeah.
someone gets offended
Yeah.
from what I'm about to say. But
Yeah.
Maduro goes, "Hey, Pappy, I really fucked up. The country is broken. I need you to come and get me." And then
Well,
on the
yeah.
other end, it's like, okay, calm down, don't worry about it. And then on the other end, it's like, okay, Pappy, you gotta come and pick me up, but you gotta make it look like I don't want to be picked up.
Totally. I know. Again, rendition.
And
believe
I
it's a
laughed
type
at
of
first, but
rendition.
then I really thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute, what if that was all staged, and it was like they had to get Maduro out of there for a different reason, and they're just not telling us what it is.
Well, people flee from countries all the time, and especially psyops going on. Look at the Iran thing.
Yeah.
I keep on seeing this thing where he's going to run away to Russia.
You think you're gonna strike Iran this year?
Yeah, we're going to hit it.
Yeah. Even though you already hit it.
Netanyahu, dude, it doesn't matter. Okay, so like again, God, we're still going to get banned for this.
No,
but
we're not.
like APAC's influence.
We
right?
can't get
Okay,
banned. It's
so-
live.
So APAC's influence, like Bibi's going to have his way. It's the Greater Israel theory. It's taken over parts of Syria.
Hey, they named a gun after
eliminate
Bibi.
the- Okay, but here's the thing. Otherwise, dude's going to prison. He has to escalate wars on grander scale.
Well, then so is
and
Donald Trump.
okay. So, but all your Congress people that have APAC
Oh, yeah, they're all going to
literally everybody in Congress except for a very select few.
Hey, from what I hear,
has
there's
a
lots of room.
handler.
There's lots of room in the
Yeah.
Venezuelan prisons now, since they all
I know,
sent them
right.
over to your country, and now there's
I
plenty of
know,
room there.
I
We could
know.
just chuck them all in there.
Dude, we totally started delving into the shit we weren't going to talk about, but I mean, this is the thing, though, man. Like when you have influence from foreign governments on it, just in your face shit,
Yeah.
like the stuff that we know and they admit to, and it's literally right there, and it is problematic. Like again, I live in a constitutionally based republic. We all do. I mean, it's democratic in theory, but democracy literally is mob rule, So we have safeguards, okay? But when your safeguards are gone, again, back to grander scales of corruption and problem that we're going to see, like
Mhm.
the unmasking of that this year, people are going to have a backlash to this. They're getting real tired, especially when you're getting dragged into a war based on the other country's influence over the people supposed to be representing you, voting for your ass to go
Mhm.
to a war,
And
and so that
just heard
there will
that-
be a backlash. There's going to be a backlash.
I
here,
just heard, and
real
I think
quick.
this is going to
Yeah.
add to your backlash. And I would be backlashing if I was in the UK, where they just announced that
Yeah,
if you're
Farmer.
65
Jesus,
and you're an
dude. Yeah.
ex-veteran, you can prepare
Yeah.
for war because they're going to call you back.
Yeah. Well, even
If I was
European
65 and I'd
countries are
already served in the military,
Yeah.
and especially if I'd seen combat or even being injured or whatever, I would be furious. I would
well,
be
the
like,
instigation
what?
of drafts.
I'm not going
they're already
back. Are you kidding me? I'm
already-
65.
they're already doing drafts, right? Okay, like the Ukraine, like
That's
200,000
insane.
people currently bailed, right? Are AWOL,
It's a
right?
giant
You know-
human meat grinder.
Yeah, and this is the kind of shit that needs to stop, and we need to stop the progression through social discourse and everyone's understanding of it and pointing fingers at the warmongers, right?
Yeah.
The corporatists, the warmongers, the money takers, the people that are there screwing your life, and it's pointing fingers and calling it out. I mean, you can non-violently like change societies for the better. as opposed to being pneumatically driven into the shit we're doing right now of us versus them in teams and
Right.
getting at each other's throats so they can instill more control. Right, so what we're looking at right now is like even in like some of the NATO countries here in Europe are instilling the draft. And again, we change the rules here in America. It is everybody. It is no longer males. It doesn't matter what the hell your gender is. You could be My Little Pony from freaking Mars. I don't know what's on your driver's license, but your shit's going to war. And there's going to be a big one. Like if we ever resort to this
My
on that
pony,
scale,
my pony has its own driver's license.
I know, right? Well, was it California had like 52 different genders or some shit? I'm making fun of that, But I'm just saying, this is the point. Like,
I
there's gonna
identify
be-
as somebody who doesn't need identification.
I identify as annoyed. That's what I identify as.
That's
But I'm just saying, this is the kind of thing this year we're going to start seeing that. Now, whether it happens fully this year, but people are going to figure this out. And they're going to start
Yeah.
getting upset. So instead of just like upset where it turns, okay, it's like anger, right? Okay, so anger is basically an
Just
emotional
turn it
response
into a
to
game
fear.
and it turns into fun.
Yeah.
That's,
Well,
that's what
I-
I would do. Like, just take all this nonsense, all
Yeah.
these things that they're throwing at us, and we'll turn it into a game. Like, okay,
Yeah.
we don't have to change anything, for one, so that makes it easy. And for two, most games are fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of
So, like, what else are we going to do at that
But the
point?
world is, I mean, the world's run on game theory. Okay.
That's what I think
and-
the real
but-
message of game theory is. Make
Yeah.
everything a game.
It is, but I mean, how do you placate your player, right? You have to, it's dopamine responses. It's an outcome that you want. Unfortunately, on the global stage, it's dominance, but again, this is part of the problem with AIs too. And all the game theory we've run with AIs, they don't know how to dial shit back, right?
Oh.
It's always dominance in the end.
AIs
So when
are
when
ruthless.
when AIs are running everything, they're running on a game theory without the ability to do negotiation diplomacy. They
Oh,
can't.
no,
They
no.
don't know the end result is always the same.
Dude,
They
AI
don't know how to dial that.
AI will have something better than diplomacy. Diplomacy won't be needed because you'll just
Mm.
agree with AI. It's so smart.
Mhm.
I
Well,
mean,
it's
that's
already
not
happening.
that's not
Yeah.
far away. I've had long discussions with AI, and I ask very strategic questions, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm probing almost in a way, right? And some of the answers that I get, and I'm not going to give you any examples right now because we don't have that much time left.
Oh yeah, we're running out of
Um,
time. Totally.
So, but some of the answers that were given made me instantly think, like, holy shit, it's been programmed with it like literally somehow figured out my psychological profile within 45
Yeah.
seconds of talking to me, and
Yeah.
it knows exactly what I want to hear. But
Absolutely.
but I could recognize that it was telling me exactly what I wanted to hear
They're
because I
sycophantic.
was right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, one would hope.
Well,
But no, AIs are by design sycophantic. Okay, and that's the other thing. Like, and again, the hidden.
I think
problem
it's
with
part of the
AI.
sterilization process of the human race.
Mm,
They don't
yeah.
want us to have any kids.
Well, what we're
they want to
doing-
be in
okay.
control of the kids
So-
being born.
You want to reduce the population. This has been a discussion, like not getting into too far, like woo-woos or all the other things.
Right, but I mean,
possibilities
yeah,
of real or
reducing the
not.
population doesn't mean not having kids anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, when you have population crashes and declines, like, well, look at Japan. What's the average age? 55, right? Population
Right,
crashes.
but at the
and
end of
when
the day,
youth
you
don't
still have
kids,
to. At the end of the day, you still have to procreate at some level. They
Well,
just
you'd
they just
think,
want control
you know,
over that
but-
procreation.
Well, true. That's true, and caste systems in other places, and a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Then you're delving into
You
like
can
all
already
the
clone your
eugenics and
dog.
shit, you know.
You can already clone
Well,
your dog. I would
yeah,
imagine in
yeah.
20 years, if let's say you had a teenage son who got killed in a car accident because he was being a dickhead on the road, you could literally you could clone
Yeah.
him. You could clone him back.
Well, again, science fiction, science fact, right? Okay, so
It's like, what was
we're
that
bringing
movie
back.
with Arnold Schwarzenegger where they kept cloning him? What was that movie? Oh, I can't
Oh
remember.
God, no,
Never
no,
mind.
Yeah, there's a number of them. I mean, there's a number
That's
of them.
coming, man.
There's some. there's okay. So we're bringing back like the dire wolf, right, and the crossbreed and all that, mammoth, the thylacine, Tasmanian tiger, all the other fun shit. Giant sloth. One could only hope because that'd be pretty awesome to have one of those in my backyard.
I
But
don't
I
know.
mean,
If I had a giant sloth, I'd be like, well, okay, what are you gonna do? Ride it? It would take you forever to get anywhere.
yeah, dude, but he's really not going to go anywhere.
That's what I
man. It's
mean.
fine. So
Like, what do
I
you
mean,
do
it's
with
just-
it?
I'm just saying, like at a certain point, like our scientific advancements.
If you
right
come back
now
next
are-
month, he'll be on the other side of the yard.
there's a lot of sketchy in AI and scientific advancements, especially in biology. There's like the mirror, and this is the problem. You can make anti-life basically. You can make the mirror image of cells
You know
and
what, man?
bacterium
I
that we have
got-
no resistance to.
I got
There's stuff being brought
suspicions.
up that's scary.
I think you know what? They're turning the food pyramid upside down. I think the old giant sloths were really fast.
They probably
were
were, man. They were
super
huge,
fast.
dude. They were huge,
And they're just telling
man.
us that they were slow.
And if the
yeah.
Younger Dryas event hadn't happened, we might still have them to this day. But who knows?
You know what?
You know,
That's
so-
possibly true, but it also may have meant that humans didn't evolve the same way.
Mm. There's weirdness in that too, man. In delving in the woo in the last few minutes, dude, they're finding so much evidence that we're like 1,000,000 years old.
That's another
at this
prediction
point.
that I actually think
You know?
because I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Another prediction I wanted to make with all this.
Yeah.
Like this year, we had the stuff under the pyramids and
Yeah.
some new
We had the
studies done on.
expansion of the Tepe area.
Yeah,
like
Gobekli Tepe was
yeah.
done, like
The
laser
Siberian
scanned.
stuff, the Siberian
Yeah,
stuff.
that too. I think
Yeah.
we're going to see a lot more of like ancient archaeology discovered because
Yep.
of the technology and it being used with AI in tandem.
Well, to be honest, okay, so victory is, history's written by the victors and all that, dude.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to see, this is one hope I have, that this year we're going to start.
Also, history is a lie.
rectifying-
History is a lie agreed
Yeah.
upon.
And we're going to start seeing a rectification of that through science.
I hope so.
And new innovation, and they're going to stop hiding everything.
You know what would be
from
cool?
us,
This is
yeah.
what I was
and
thinking. You know-
probably blue beam at this rate. So if
You know how
freaking
these
knows,
guys they had like satellites and they were able to image what's under the pyramids, right? So what
Yeah.
I want to do, and you know how we can look at license plates from space, right?
Yep.
What I want to do is just point all that shit at the Vatican Library and read all the books.
Yeah.
just
I know,
just
dude.
read all the books. No one needs to go
Well,
in there.
okay,
we
so
just read
there
them
was a
through
pom-
satellites.
So here's a cool one, dude. There was a Pompeii scroll that was burnt, right? That they found. It was intact. So they used AI, and they used 3 forms, I believe, of different like spectrometry
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
also like X-ray, and they analyzed it and they fucking read it.
Yep.
That
Let's
is
just
the
do that from
coolest shit.
space. That's all we
I
gotta
know,
do.
dude, I
Just
know.
do that from
I know.
space
But I'm
right
just
into the
saying-
Vatican.
I'm just saying, archaeologically wise, like we're doing things that in history we've never been capable of doing.
It's true.
Which also advances our understanding and knowledge of the past, which I am hugely happy about and would love to see more of that. I mean, there is an upside to AI.
I think
Again,
that there would be a definite
know.
good thing in 2026 because I can tell there's going to be a lot of bad news in 2026 already.
Oh, dude,
but one
yeah,
of the good
yeah.
things it might actually instigate is a sort of a movement towards older ways of thinking that worked.
Yeah, I agree. And it's the same thing. I know a lot of archaic skills and I've been refining them and doing things, on that end too. And just because it's necessary for me to be able to teach them to others,
Right.
And I think
physically
more people
building
need to do
something
this. Yeah.
physically building something without AI is going to be like a lost art form soon.
Yep. Well, we'll become a rarity, dude.
Yep.
I'm already a rarity in life, man. Might as well just expand on that theory, And that's the thing about it. Like everybody's going to need to. I mean, I'm not saying again, buckle up, little campers. It's going to be a wild ride, but in the same note, you're going to have the ups and downs, like everything in life. You're going to have these really cool things that are going to happen. You're going to be blown away by technology. You're going to be blown away by some of the knowledge that we're going to
Yeah,
gain.
there's going to be a
And in
lot
the
of
same note,
there's
you'll
going to
have
be
the
a lot of
downside.
there's going to be a lot of grenades that land in your living room,
Yeah.
and they can either be they can explode, or you can disarm them and use them
Well,
for like.
well,
I mean, like we're
it's
gonna
like a
get a
guy like
lot of
me,
stuff thrown at us
right?
this year. I think.
A guy like me, I take a lot of flack, but that means I'm on target,
I
right?
think you
Okay,
know what's gonna happen this
and a
year.
lot of people are going to have to start learning that,
The
like to
news,
be able to deal.
the
Yeah.
mainstream news, maybe CNN even will have to retract a news story and apologize for not realizing that it was fake.
Dude, I know.
And once
Probably.
that happens,
I know.
we've
I know.
we've lost the plot. Once that happens, we don't.
Well, again,
Literally,
the-
you need to see things with
Yeah.
your own eyes in person via no screen to believe anything.
Well, again, joking about Project Bluebeam. I mean, I can see them pulling it. You know,
I don't know.
they may
man.
have to. You know, it's a quelling of populations as far as their zeitgeist. You know, and I can see there's a lot of there's a lot of black swans. There's a lot.
I got
of
a
wild
question
cards.
though about color,
Yeah.
about Bluebeam. If you're colorblind,
Yeah.
is it still Bluebeam or is it brown?
You're
beam?
right. What if I'm wearing blue light filter
Yeah,
glasses?
well, exactly.
You know, what happens, man?
I have
You
all
said
these
that
questions.
he said he was a little green man, dude.
Yeah,
He's coming out blue.
He looked
you know?
orange to me. I don't know.
I don't know. No, but I mean, it's going to be interesting. Year.
He was
It-
orange,
it
so I
totally
didn't
is.
shoot him.
Dude, totally. Right.
Didn't work for
Or
Trump.
that, well, I mean, honestly, I don't know. Well, that political assassinations, that's another one. We have already seen multiple attempts. We've already seen I'm just talking global leaders in
Yeah.
general. I mean, now we're doing snatch and grabs and shit, but I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling that there is going to be a number of political assassinations this year.
Yeah, could be.
On the bigger scales, and then we're not talking like the dude who's in Mexico running for mayor getting popped or something. We're talking about global leaders.
Oh, speaking of that,
so
I just remembered this, dude. Did you hear it? You know who won the Nobel Peace Prize, right?
No.
That woman from Venezuela. She was like, I guess, the opposition to Maduro. She won the Nobel Peace Prize. She recently presented that medal to Donald Trump.
Yeah, I saw that, and then the Nobel Peace Prize guys weren't gonna
Like-
it's fine, you can own it, but it doesn't mean it's yours. Kind
I'm
of
like,
thing,
what
you
the
know,
hell?
so.
Like Trump. Okay, a little bit of a tangent here, I guess. I think we have time for it, but like,
Yeah.
Trump was like, I don't know who should get the Nobel Peace Prize. I've stopped 8 wars. I stopped.
Yeah, right, I
I mean,
know.
I don't. And so she was like, okay, here you go, you can have it. And he was like, oh,
Well, the
thanks.
dude's ego gets in the way of reality, man, all the freaking time, dude. I mean,
thanks.
the disconnect, the global disconnect between leadership and your
The
average
Nobel
person
Peace Prize
is
was rigged.
so huge, dude.
It
I
was
know, I know.
rigged. Justice has
Yeah.
been served. I got the medal.
Well, okay. So and I can't remember her name offhand, but yeah, she's the one that like
He's gonna be wearing it next time he speaks in
Well,
public.
she's the one from Venezuela
Yeah.
that they snuck out and everything. Okay, all that, and then again, puppets,
so
right?
funny.
We've been doing puppets. We've been doing regime
You
changes.
can't write this
I
shit,
mean,
dude.
Yeah, I mean, again, that was kind of like
You need AI to write
like,
this stuff.
I know, but it also had like this very like Discordian context to it of like bowing before a king, right? And giving your offerings and shit like that. Here, let me be
Yeah.
your puppet, kind of thing. So again, we're going to see a lot more of that shit too.
I think so too.
And again, Japan, dude, like I mean, they're ramping their shit up into militaristic, right, at this point because they literally are in economic crash. And again, all things fail, you start going to wars and all the other bullshit. So they're another wild card. Might drag our asses into shit.
Yeah.
I actually, it was like just totally off all that. Like the Randall Carlson stuff and the more of his stuff, looking into the Atlantean stuff is kind of pretty freaking hip. And we should talk about that sometime.
Yeah, we should.
Besides the other levels of Randall, and all that. And then get into the Malcolm Bendel, and I've been deep diving on that a little bit. And it goes back to like the 90s cold fusion shit with implosions as opposed to explosions.
Yeah,
And transmutation. I mean, that energy had to go somewhere when that bubble at hypersonic speeds imploded.
It's definitely been
And it's
suppressed.
transmutation.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. And that's another scientific, like advancement in tech that maybe they'll finally give up the ghost and they're gonna like be like, hey, this is legit.
I think
You know?
it is going to happen.
So-
It might not happen this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does, dude. The
Well, we
plasmoid
are in a
technology is. I mean, I
we're
saw
in
a
a negative-
demonstration
yeah.
of a retrofit for a turbine jet engine. Now,
Yeah.
the one thing that I kept thinking about was, man, this thing, it like the size of the retrofit compared to the size of the engine is like you'd have to change the whole aircraft. Like it makes
Well,
it's actually
okay.
not practical at all.
But
there was
again, you
there was
know-
a side effect that I didn't realize, and that is that there's a part to this plasmoid technology called the bubble chambers.
Yeah, that's exactly the point that I'm getting at.
There's
and all that, yeah.
plenty of other there's definitely potential in just that part of the plasmoid technology apparatus that they've developed
Yeah.
for these engines. Just that alone, that's like 0 point energy right there.
It's cleaning up pollution too on top
Yep,
of it.
exactly.
You know,
It's
I mean,
transmutable.
there's a bunch of ups, and again, we're in a negative of energy at this point. We need
right.
increasingly
So-
exponentially to be able to produce
This is
more
gonna
energy
be-
right now.
This is
you
going to
know,
be the
so-
tease for the next time that Mike Mont comes back on the show, because
Yeah.
we got like 4 minutes left, so we're gonna wrap this
Oh,
up.
dude, yeah, totally.
And Mike, dude, thanks for coming on as always. It's
I don't
a
mind.
pleasure
Anytime,
talking
man.
with you about whatever. I think we should get into this plasmoid stuff next time you come back. And
Well, I agree. And
because
there's
it's-
a couple other
there's-
energy techs. Dude.
there's a
couple
lot of
other
things
energy
people
techs,
don't know
yeah.
about that they should be aware of, and it's encouraging. It's not bad news. It's good news, folks. So,
No.
dude, thanks for coming by. I appreciate you so much, and we'll talk again soon. Everybody listening, thanks for tuning in. It's the Polynation broadcast. I'm gonna leave you with "Listen How" by Are You a Cop? And I'll see you tomorrow. You know what? Maybe I'll do an 80s show tomorrow. I haven't decided yet, but if not, be Psychedelic Sunday. You'll have to tune in, find out. See you tomorrow, folks. Polynation signing off. God bless.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, most of the common people thought the earth was flat. Try not to criticize, back then it was hard to know. And that big blue ocean, you didn't mess with that. But the curiosity of men had created sails for wind, and they learned to catch fish throughout the year. The dockhands noticed first, before the captain screamed and cursed. All you common people, come and listen here. He had them stare straight at the coast, and then when the very next boat approached, the mast was the only part of the ship that they could see.